Lila, hello. Welcome. Good morning. Alright. Lila, you get to hear me make my Instagram post. Where is it? Okay. Alright. Oh. Alright. Here we go. Here we go. Do you like countdowns? What about little Furby boys? Whoa, he's long. Oh my god, there's some tea or something. Ooh. Listen, I'm playing this game, everybody. Is this a long video for Instagram? Who cares? It's been a long road, but listen. We're gonna beat this game today. Come hang out, I love you. Ah! Beautiful. Almost 7 p.m. Oh, God. Shut up, me. Ooh, baby, 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 baby. Ooh, 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 ooh. Alright, I've posted to Instagerms. I also just remembered. Sharky, hello! Give me just uno more memento. Alright. I hope it does not get too hot today, everybody, because for where I live, it is apparent today is the peak of a heat wave. I think it said it's gonna be like 93, capping out at. So that's pretty hot. That's not my favorite, but we will persevere. If I have to get an ice pack, I will. But sit an ice pack on my little butt, my little bottom. I hope you're all having a lovely week. Sorry for being sick yesterday. I'm not 100%, but we're beating this game, baby. Come hell or high water. Oh. Oh. Y'all ever watch the Ghost Stories dub, the anime Ghost Stories? I'm not gonna go into it if you don't know what I'm talking about, like, in depth. But basically, the English dubbers didn't really, like, have a script that they were given to follow when they were given the visuals for the anime, you know, from Japan. So they just, like, goofed off, and it's real silly. They just sort of made up a really ridiculous story. But there's one kid who, like, he's like a little baby boy, and he just cries all the time. And so I think, like, in the original Japanese version, he's probably saying words most of the time. But in in this version, in the English dub, he's often just crying, and he's just like, wah, 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 wah. Like, his mouth is just opening, flapping all about, and he's like, wah, wah, wah. It's so funny. Oh my god. Are you ready? Gamers? Hey, gamers. Gamers? Oh, shoot. Hi, gamers. Welcome to my gaming stream of gamer time. It's gamer time. My brain remembers the I said jump. Wait, I don't remember. I haven't finished it. We need to sit down and, like, we got maybe halfway through. But oh my god. Oh my god. Listen, I don't know how long this is gonna be. Hey, listen. Listen, everybody. Are you listening? Have you listened? Are you? What's that over there? Is that a video game? On my television screen? Those even clips on YouTube. Oh, that's fair. Yeah, so, like, an amount of it has not aged, like, the best. You know. What are you gonna do sometimes? Jimmy Balliard's school! That's beautiful. Not really. Schools wasn't my favorite either. Alright, we're just gonna get into it. This is probably, even though there's only one section left, gonna be a long section. This is the final part. Here we go, babies. Oh, let me turn the music off. Alright. Oh, yeah! I forgot, we get to hang out with both of them, and him. Forget about it. So, witness! I gotta remember everyone's voices. For the final time, please state your name and occupation for the court. Eugene Mikitoba, lecturer in forensic medicine at the Imperial Yume University in Tokyo, Japan. I love her. And, Professor Mikitoba, the young lady beside you is... Ah, this is Dr. Maria Gorey. Scotland Yard's practicing coroner, the daughter of Dr. Scythe, I understand. Gossamer, hello! I hope you weren't too worried when I didn't stream yesterday. Welcome, welcome. Yes, Dr. Scythe. I'm afraid I can't tell you why she's here. She just appeared. She's just staring at him. You summoned this strange Japanese man as a witness to that autopsy, but you don't summon Mama. That makes no sense. She was there, too. That's about the size of it. I love her! I've had her eyes boring into the side of my cheek constantly, whilst I was in the antechamber, too. I was a bit worried. Yeah, I just got sick. I didn't post, I don't typically post on Twitter about stream stuff, but, if you're not already in the Discord, I always announce if a stream is canceled or whatever in the Discord. No, I woke up at 3, was too tired, didn't want to plow through the ending all messed up, so I waited a day. I didn't really have what I thought I might stream today planned if I had streamed yesterday just anyway, so it all worked out. Poor man, the idea of it's making me shudder. The revelations about Dr. Scythe that came to light some days ago defiled the reputation of the entire judiciary. She was therefore deemed unfit to appear as a witness in today's proceedings. This is my voice now. It's a little more gravelly. The Minister of Justice's decision on that is final. Well, we wouldn't want more perjury to be committed, would we? The Ministry of Justice? Some questionable strings are being pulled, I think. God, the sound of that! Forget about it. I remember you, Dr. Mikitoba, but I certainly never expected to be meeting you under these circumstances. Yes, it's been a long while, Lord Strongheart. The prosecution understands that you were a visiting student of forensic science in London until 10 years ago. That's right, I studied under Dr. Wilson's at St. Sinners. So you were present at the autopsy of my brother, Lord Clint Van Zeeks. I was, yeah. Staked him right through the heart. He was also a vampire. I assisted Dr. Wilson with the entire procedure. Not me thinking he was the dead inspector. Mama is more skilled than any Japanese man. Racist! Well, what anyways? Dr. Wilson asked me to be his primary assistant on that occasion. And this autopsy report was actually penned by you, I believe. Yes, I noted all the doctor's findings on it when we were done. He read through the document and signed it. Poor Mama, a secondary assistant. She wouldn't have had such a good view of all the innards. So, Professor, do you remember Inspector Gregson? Yes, of course. If it wasn't for his insistence, Lord Van Zeeks' autopsy would have never happened. But he was absolutely convinced that it would reveal decisive evidence against Genshin, you see. So Lord Strongheart had to entreat the nobility to allow it to take place. Do correct me if I'm wrong, my lord. It was as a result of that autopsy that a mass murderer was apprehended and justice was done. Bonk. But Gregson admitted it before he was killed. He admitted that the results of the autopsy were fabricated. Did he? I don't remember that. You were there at the time, so you must testify. You have an obligation to tell the truth about what really went on. Absolutely, that's precisely why I'm here. And that's why I'm here too. Also because I'm very cute. When Zeke's having to hear Maria talk about his brother's innards. What's his case about? This is the final case of the game. I think it would take a little too long to give like a succinct recap, but we're trying to figure out who the details of a case from 10 years ago. Very well, then. You will give your formal testimony, witness. But before you begin, a word of warning. Oh? You will state truthfully and accurately what you saw and what you heard at the time. I wouldn't dream of doing otherwise, my lord. The moment your testimony verges on supposition, I will expel you from my courtroom. Remember that. Oh, he's serious. Too serious. Too scary. From my own observations, I couldn't say there was any indication of the autopsy results having been fabricated. Death resulting from a wound made by a Western-style sword transfixing the heart. That I found a little strange. There were no other signs of internal injury, nothing questionable at all. It was just that the beautiful but dangerous piece of evidence removed from the man's stomach. It was just that beautiful... What? I feel like I feel like something about that was weird. Presumed to have been swallowed by the victim as a way of posthumously identifying his assailant. Swallowed? Oh, okay. I just needed to be patient. No indication, nothing to suggest fabrication. Professor Mikitoba, are you certain about that? Well, nothing that I could have positively identified as such, much less swear into testimony. Excuse me, I might be real burpy this stream. I apologize. What are you giggling about? Oh, he's getting final boss stuff. Ha ha ha, well, that clears things up nicely. Oh my god. The only fabrication here, Asogi, has come from you. What? You claim the inspector confessed that just before his death, but that is the fabrication. No, he freely oh, that's right, when he died. He freely acknowledged it, I swear he did. Freely, with the tip of a sword in his throat, the man was clearly at his wit's end. Court will give no credence to this confession that was uttered in obvious desperation. Quite simply, there was nothing questionable about the investigation of Lord Clint Van Zeek's death. And with this testimony we have, without question, uncovered the whole truth of the matter. What? She's staring at she's so little. If I may, my lord. There was most certainly something questionable about it, and the whole truth does rather elude us, I feel. I beg your pardon? Well, you're obviously aware of the facts of the case. All 4 of the professor's previous victims died when an enormous beast was set upon them that ripped out their throats. Oh, such horrifying crimes. Erratic, hello, welcome. How's that horn doing? Is it full of all the... What's in there? What's in that horn of yours? Tell me, please. Maria looking up as she recalls things. Maria just breathing is cute. Are you kidding? I don't think she could do anything. She could, like, murder me, and I'd be like, aw. But curiously, the killer's last victim, Lord Clint Van Zeek, suffered a different fate. Yes, you're right. Cyanide is vibing. Instagram doesn't like you. What happened? He was stabbed through the heart with a sword. That's enough. I believe I warned you about this, witness. I promised to curtail your testimony as soon as it entered the realms of supposition or speculation. You and me are on the same wavelength. Very well, my lord. In that case, the defense will pursue a conclusion to this during the cross-examination. What? I have the right to cross-examine every witness. You know that. Don't be stupid. And I fully intend to exercise that right. Ryunosuke, we're just friends, my friend. I'm afraid that even the presiding judge has no authority to contravene the letter of the law. Got some special comments. Instagram do be wild and even more than TikTok sometimes, as far as like the unhinged things they'll say. TikTok, you can kind of, you know what to expect because it's like 12-year-olds mostly that are like the most commenty, and their insult game is pretty bad, right? Like, they need to step it up. It's easy to deal with. Instagram's age is a little older if they feel like they want to be mean. I'm sorry that happened. It imagines me that Instagram people are more toxic. I think it's an age thing, really. It's like kids are just mostly monkey see, monkey do, you know? They're like, oh, haha, fatherless behavior. What does that mean? I don't know. The other people said it. I'm just gonna say it too. Ha 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 ha. I'm 12. You know what I mean? But Instagram people are a little bit older, so they know how to use their words more bitingly. Unfortunately, I'm very sorry though that that's happening. As I'm sure every member of the judiciary present in the gallery would agree. Blah. If she just cut him down. Very well, you may begin, counsel. However, the moment your argument strays from the established facts, will not hesitate to bring the cross-examination to an end. Proceed with caution. Yes, my lord. Find it funny. I like clapping back, like, actually on, like, I will counter-troll bad people. It is a unicorn, like, gavel or a staff or whatever. From my observations, I can't say there was any fabrication that happened. Excuse me. You couldn't say? No, sadly not. But then you couldn't say that there wasn't any indication either, could you? No, true, I couldn't. I was at Dr. Wilson's side as he performed the procedure, recording what he did. But at times, of course, he instructed me to fetch implements and such like. Whilst I was away from the operating table, obviously I could have missed something. And at those times, what was the secondary assistant doing? Following this Japanese man's orders to adjust the lighting or pass him implements. That doesn't mean Mama wasn't a vital part of the team. Quite, yes. Oh, shoot. Wait. Could you kindly refrain from staring at my cheek like that? Professor Mikotoba, think, was there nothing at all that seemed out of place to you? Ah! Star! I didn't even have to look. It's always Star. If one day it's not gonna be Star, and I'm gonna be embarrassed because I also tooted on screen. I'm gonna get a few sketches done before I hate this. What's happening? You getting them wisdom teeth pulled? I told the first guy to be more creative. The second guy came in and I was like, all right, oh man. Or you could stare at me all you way. Hey man, cut Star, hello. Well, yes, as a matter of fact, there was one of those. Whatever makes you happy, Maria. Death resulted from a wound made by a Western-style sword transfixing the heart. That I found a little strange. I was transfixed by it. 5 teeth. That's more. Which? Oh, I hope that goes well. In all of the previous 4 killings attributed to the professor, the victims were killed by an enormous dog. I believe their throats were, well, bald. You like his hat? Yeah, he's looking like a real dapper guy. He's got to wear English clothing. Correct, and yet Lord Van Zeeks was stabbed. Ah, so you mean to say, do you think Lord Clint Van Zeeks may not have in fact been one of the professor's victims? There is no basis on which to doubt the findings of the investigation carried out at the time. But Genshin Asogi confessed to all his crimes upon his arrest. He admitted to having taken the lives of all 5 members of the aristocracy. Ah! Yet the beast that was used to carry out the killings was never identified. No evidence was found to suggest that Genshin had ever kept a dog. A true hound of hell. All my wisdom teeth and a messed up one. Oh, okay. Man, getting my wisdom teeth taken out wasn't the worst. It was definitely surgery. Because they were like impacted, so they were 90 degrees going in towards the middle of my mouth. So they had to like cut me up, but it wasn't that bad. It was so funny because like it wasn't like they don't do, typically I guess they don't do general anesthetic for oral stuff, right? Because like that it requires keeping a tube in your mouth. But so they like injected me with they gave me the sleeping gas, and then they injected me with whatever was gonna put me to sleep. And they say, all right, count down from 100. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't know. Stuff like this doesn't usually work on me. Like, it's probably going to take a while. I was like, 100, 99, 98. And then I woke up post-surgery. It was crazy. I got 3 numbers in. Jose, hello. Good to see you. How are you? The moment I saw Clint's cause of death, I started going, huh? It was satisfying finally having it come up here. And my wisdom teeth still, 2 of them are growing in horizontally. No! It's awful. You got, get it done sooner than later is my advice, because I had braces for so long, and then the wisdom teeth started impacting, and now my teeth are like a little crooked again. 3 numbers in, and out like a light. There were no other signs of internal injury. Nothing questionable at all. Or they tell you to count from 100. Yeah, maybe. Maybe it takes some people longer. I'm little. I'm like 5'1", so maybe, you know, a 6'1" man, it might take them five numbers. I don't know. But, weren't you actually present at the autopsy yourself? You weren't actually present, were you, Dr. Gory? Does that matter? Well, I just wonder how useful your testimony can be in that case, really. I mean, it would be different if your mother, Dr. Scythe, were in the stand, but... I've read all the paperwork about the case, and Mama's told me the story countless times. You're 5'1" too, Gossamer? Hey! Hell yeah. The statement I just made is exactly what's written in the autopsy report. I did confirm that myself at the time, it's true. Besides the stab wound, there are no other signs of internal trauma. I see. Mama told me all about it. Oh? She said there was nothing of note internally. But they did find an amazing piece of evidence, something unbelievable. Unbelievable? What do you mean? Come on, Dr. Gory, what was it? Spit it out! 5'1", I don't even weigh enough to donate blood. Hell yeah! Well, I don't know. If you're happy with that, that's great. My parents are gonna buy soft foods. All I wanted was mac and cheese, and I couldn't eat solid foods for like 3 days. A lot of applesauce. I had to grind up my my giant Advils into my applesauce. It was just that beautiful but dangerous piece of evidence removed from the man's stomach. Hold it! Yeah, this is what I want to know about. What exactly was it, though? What does beautiful but dangerous mean? Well, it was sparkly and round with a hole, as if it might slip over a finger, perhaps. It was a ring, belonging to Genshin Isogi. My father's ring was inside the victim's stomach. At the time, Genshin wore a large ring on the... Alright. Megatoba, I'm gonna need you to calm down. Just say the ring finger on the digitus quartus of his left hand, the fourth ring finger. Alright, but we're not impressed, Megatoba. Come on. I couldn't donate anyway because I got a blood transfusion. At the time, some of the blanks. Wait, but... Really? What does that mean? You just got bad blood forever? Like Taylor Swift, like T-Swizzle? Wants to soup applesauce? But it desperately wants if he's like, I know science words. I'm single, ladies. Maybe. I'd understood it was some sort of keepsake. When my father left Japan for London 16 years ago, I was 8 years old. But I remember that ring. You do? My father's possessions were sent to our family home in Japan after his death, but the ring wasn't among them. I got normal blood. I guess it's a precaution. That seems kind of wild to me. That doesn't... If that's based in science, I'd be a little bit surprised. Obviously not. It was a key piece of evidence. It remains under lock and key at the stores at Scotland Yard to this day. We gotta see that ring. After the autopsy, Genshin was summoned by the police to check for the presence of his ring. It wasn't on his hand, of course. Moreover, there were deep abrasions on his finger where it had been pulled off. No. Megatoba, Cozy. Hello, Cozy. They arrested the man here, then and there, right before my eyes. How could they? Whatever. I brought the ring along with me to thank God, Gory. What? Oh my God. Here it is, a bit dusty from years in the stores. Good gracious, yes, that's it. I haven't seen that in 10 long years. That's a serious ring. That was found inside the victim's stomach. Yes, I'm afraid so. You hesitated there, Professor Megatoba. Should we read something into that? Well, it's just that I'm thinking back now. I didn't actually witness the moment it was extracted from the victim's body. Oh my, really? That precise moment, Dr. Wilson had asked me to fetch him a new scalpel, you see. Dr. Gory, the removal of historic evidence from the stores requires my consent, does it not? Hello. She just took the evidence. However it came to be here, the court cannot deny that this is crucial evidence for today's proceedings. Very well, you may submit it. Oh, you better believe we're gonna look at that ring. Ooh, baby, let's examine the shit out of it. These fat claws are doing a good job of protecting the equally fat gemstone on this middle of this fat ring. Yes, if you were a fat-ass clumsy, you could give yourself a rather nasty cut on them, I believe. Ow! Now my finger's bleeding. The claws really are sharp. Oh my! That was very quick clumsiness, Mr. Naruhodo, even for you. It would make such a dangerous ring. You couldn't swallow it without doing yourself some fairly serious damage, surely. A sticky mochi bun of about that size would go down much better with some red bean paste in the middle. Someone as clumsy as me would probably manage to choke on it somehow. Okay, so it's sharp as hell. So at some point we're gonna see that there was nothing wrong with the throat. And I'll be like, aha! I'm sure that is good as admissible evidence. What? This is the Ace Attorney universe. Well, who needs laws? Who needs, like... okay, there's claws. You must examine it very carefully. Okay, I did it. Thank you. Presumed to have been swallowed by the victim. Oh, okay. Let me press this witness. And that was a decisive part of the evidence that led to Genshin Isogi's arrest. Correct. After further investigations by Scotland Yard, the man admitted his crimes. That's a lie. My father was no killer. Barok Van Zeeks, it was you. You twisted the truth to suit your purposes. Your hatred of me doesn't change the facts that were established 10 years ago. My brother, Clint, had closed in on the professor. In the end, he exposed the man to put a stop to his lethal rampage. In the way only the man of my brother's caliber could. Oh my god. That's everything, is it? Poor father, he looks so troubled. Perhaps because 10 years ago, something happened that's been weighing on his mind. Oh! I couldn't say were his words. That phrasing was very deliberate, I'm sure. I wonder if he's had his suspicions all these years. If that's the case, we need to use this cross-examination to prove what really happened and remove any trace of doubt. Sure! That sounds great! Okay! Whatever you say, my dude! Alright. So I suppose we'll, This is the swallowing part, so let's present the... Objection! Uh-oh! Okay. That wasn't it. Chutes and ladders. Well... Oh, posthumously. Okay, hold on. Well, sure. Well, okay, but... Oh, there was no other sign. Oh, okay. Now I'll present the ring. Objection! There we go. Okay. Ah! Star. The corner of the ring was extracted from the victim's stomach. But you didn't actually see it being removed, did you, Professor Migatoba? Why are you talking like that? That's right, as I said in my testimony before. And then at the moment I was fetching a replacement scalpel that Dr. Wilson had requested. In other words, you can neither confirm nor deny whether this ring, in fact, really came from the victim's stomach or not. You tell I got paid today. Hell yeah, it is, the 5th. I thought I was gonna look at the date and it was gonna be like the 1st or the 15th, and it was just the 5th, and I was like, what do I started this sentence? What do I do? What are you suggesting, counsel? Ah! That the ring was never in the victim's stomach to begin with! It's entirely feasible that Dr. Wilson fabricated that detail about the autopsy. What are you saying? That Dr. Wilson was in possession of the ring in advance, after it was somehow stolen from Mr. Isogi. And he produced it during the procedure, pretending to have found it then and there in the victim's stomach. Objection! Ah! Supposition at best. What possible evidence do you have to support such a ratchet? Oh my god. That's me. I used to pop all the time. I don't do that very much anymore. I'm reading all the time is what's happening. I don't have time for pops. Supposition, what possible evidence? This evidence, right here! That's the autopsy report. It's explicit in that report, counsel. Other than the ring, nothing unusual was noted internally. I'm not sure how you intend to prove your point. You've already done it for me, my lord. The lack of internal injury says it all. What? To swallow a ring of this size would require considerable effort and determination. And in addition to its size, there are sharp claws around the gemstone to contend with. It's really sort of shocking that nobody thought of this at the time. My brother was a determined man and on the brink of death, even more so, I'm sure. He would have stopped at nothing to ensure that evil killer was brought to justice. But if he had really swallowed that enormous ring, it's inconceivable that no traces of its passage down his throat would have remained as internal trauma. No! There it is. And there you've arrived at the sticking point. That's precisely why I had my doubts about the finding myself 10 years ago. Alright, good. Then why didn't you say something at the time? I did. I still remember the conversation I had with Dr. Wilson in the lab that day. Wilson's voice?
Look at this.
I don't know.
Well, this is a very curious thing to find in a man's stomach, wouldn't you say?
Definitely real. But isn't that rather peculiar, Dr. Wilson?
What's that Omega told her?
Well, if he swallowed a ring of that size with those sharp metal claws that it has, surely you'd expect to see damage to the throat and esophagus, torn mucous membranes at the very least.
I remind you, but I have vastly more experience than you.
I'm terribly sorry. He just flexed.
I could think of plenty of ways to explain why no injuries would have been. Well, let's say this. The victim would appear to have ingested the item as evidence to identify his assailants. Go ahead, write it down.
So I was right. Dr. Wilson deliberately fabricated the results of the autopsy to implicate my father. I'm disappointed, Counsel. That argument is nothing more than speculation. What? Dr. Wilson was Britain's leading authority on forensic science and autopsy work. There is no scientific basis on which to doubt the man's expert opinion. Pardon the interruption, my lord, but damage to the mucous membranes of the throat is easily identified even in living subjects. Using a device called an endoscope, recently demonstrated in practical use in France. I want one the government can pay. I don't think so, and Dr. Corey, rest assured that your removal of the evidence from their stores without permission will not go unpunished. We open up the dead to find the truth. I beg your pardon? But Mama, she chose to stitch her corpses up, with all her secrets inside. That's wrong. Dr. Corey! It's looking as though... Banger lines from my girl. She's chosen to walk a different path from her mama. Alright, my guy, we've just had a trial. We proved the corner line. Dagonator, hello. Welcome, welcome. Yeah! Is that illegal? Probably not. Yes, the ring. What about the ring? I've just remembered something. An earlier incident. What incident? Tell me! The one I recounted to you before about a memory I have. Of Genshin Asogi saving my life. What? What? My father saved your life? You? A vampire man. He saved your life. It was 10 years ago on a foggy night. Genshin and I were walking down some back streets at a late hour. All of a sudden...
Don't make a peep, you're coming with us.
All of our assailants were armed with pistols, their faces obscured by scars. Bang! Bang, bang! The next thing I knew, there was silence all around. Genshin lay on the cobbled street. Blood was seeping from his left hand. He'd shielded me. It was on the ring finger of his left hand that he used to wear the ring. Ah! Are you saying... I've always believed those thugs were after me, but now I'm starting to question if perhaps I wasn't the intended target after all. Wait, but... Your stream playing on my store speakers? When I get really loud, just imagine the store next door is hearing Catboy scream. Hey, next door, are you ready? I have the power! Everything's on sale! Take what you want, it's all free! And Star's like, okay, I'm turning the Catboy down.
Genshin was arrested 2 days after that attack. And in the short interval, the decisive evidence needed to indict him was miraculously found.
You mean the ring was stolen from him? You think that's what those thugs were after that night?
Maybe.
Objection!
Yeah, that's right.
Bonk.
You pathetic coward. You expect me to believe that you weren't involved?
No!
What do you mean by that?
Let it go, bud.
It was you, wasn't it? You're the one who took it. You stole my father's ring. You set the whole thing up so you could paint him as a mass murderer and have him
Bud, shut up. Shut the hell up. Open your eyes.
Ryunosuke!
My just friend. You must know deep down. The truth can be completely obscured even when your judgment is only slightly clouded. But at the moment, you seem to be floundering through a dense fog. It's an analogy. Look it up! That's why you were so insistent I should be present in this trial. Is that why? To see you like this?
You get scolded by Ryunosuke, you know it's bad. Well, this is an amusing spectacle. What a grandiose expression on your face. As if you were Lady Justice herself. Seems you've thoroughly convinced yourself of this alleged fabrication of the autopsy results. So much so that you're apparently blind to the blatant contradiction that would be born out of it.
What?
Though it's extremely hard to believe, let us imagine that there was some misconduct during the autopsy. If that were the case, why would Asogi have not disputed the findings in his trial?
Oh.
In the closed court hearing 10 years ago, the defendant never once denied the claims against him. Isn't that right, Lord Van Zeeks?
Ah! Hydrate. Float, hello!
How are you? Yes, that is indeed correct. Upon hearing the verdict of guilty, he merely closed his eyes, quietly accepting the judgment. The actions of a man who has accepted responsibility for his deeds and is resigned to his fate.
But then... Oh my, that is very strange. Mr. Sogi did nothing to oppose the charges against him. Then... Float, I love you. I hope you're having a good day. That would surely mean there was no fabricated evidence.
An obvious conclusion at which you should have arrived many minutes ago, Prosecutor Asogi.
Excuse me. I burped once more. I'm burping so many burps.
Your twisted loyalty and clouded judgment are hampering your ability for logical thought.
Ah!
Genshin Asogi's silence at his hearing can mean only one thing. There were no fabrication of evidence during the autopsy of the final victim 10 years ago.
Yay, flute. Having a good day. Hope you are as well. Yeah, today's better than yesterday. I was sick yesterday, but I'm much better today. If that autopsy was all above board, there'll be nothing to stop Lord Strongheart bringing this trial to an immediate conclusion. Yeah, objection. Bonk. 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 Hello.
Thank you, Ryunosuke. If it wasn't for your frank words just now,
But my name's Ryunosuke.
this trial may have very well ended prematurely.
Kazuma?
What's this latest absurdity, Counsel? My lord, your reasoning is perfectly sound, but for one giant hole, my butt. I beg your pardon.
I'm glad you're feeling better. Hell yeah, thank you. I am. This is being frustrated right now, but honestly, I can't blame him for not having his head on straight. Yeah, he's been, like, brooding for 10 entire years.
You claim my father's silence was due to the fact that there was no fabricated evidence. But there's another possible explanation. You've overlooked the possibility that he had a reason for maintaining that silence. Silence that would lead him to be convicted and sent up to his death. If the autopsy results were an invention, there's no conceivable reason why the man wouldn't have protested. Oh, those results were an invention, all right. There's no question of that. Or are you forgetting that 2 people with a connection to that autopsy have been assassinated? If I force the grievances I feel from my mind, I start to see you in a very different light. I think perhaps it's you who's been living in delusion these 10 years. Me?
Kazuma-sama created one last chance for us here, Mr. Naruhodo. We can only show there was a reason for his father's silence in the trial.
A reason why the man would have said nothing even though he was innocent. Could it have been part of some negotiation, perhaps?
Enough rhetoric. The court must be shown evidence. What proof do you have that could possibly explain...
Oh, is it the papers? It's definitely Iris's lucky charm. Decent scarlet ink stains. None of the ink was found. Oh, interesting. I don't remember that. Vital evidence recovered from the victim's stomach. Okay. So that's all fine. Is it like these? So is it the papers? But like that doesn't really make like a ton of sense. Maybe it was about his son. I'm gonna save and present it. I love his prosecutor theme. It's kicking in right now and he's being more sensible. His brain isn't clouded with rage-a-hall. Excuse me.
Take that!
Yeah! This is the defense's answer to that question. No. Come on. Beans. Oh, shoot. I should have read that. Hold on. That was a hint. Why didn't he say anything? So if we're right about the autopsy reports, there must be a strong reason. Exchange for some clemency? Yeah, okay. But like... Okay. Crime scene, notice board. All these things are from the new case, but we need the old case. Also the papers. It's not it. Well, man, I don't know. I don't heckin' know. I'm looking it up. I don't want us to sit around here waiting. Oh. Really? But why? Okay, daily vigils relieves his post. The aiding and abetting details will be investigated. In addition to the jailbreak plot was conceived prior to the convict's incarceration. The convict engaged in some sort of negotiation with the prison staff. Okay, well, I guess this is the answer. True that Genshin, but I don't really understand why. It's true that Genshin Isogi's silence during his trial resulted in his conviction. That didn't actually lead to his execution, on the contrary. It led to his escape, an escape that was only possible because he'd been sentenced to death.
Although I find it hard to believe that my father would have negotiated in that way, the defense is correct. A fake execution, falsification of a death certificate, and a jailbreak inside a coffin. Clearly such an elaborate plan couldn't have been carried out by my father alone. He must have had the help of a collaborator from the judiciary.
I have here the dismissal notice from a chief warder who was working in the prison at that time. The notes read, there are indications that the jailbreak was in planning prior to the inmate's incarceration. In other words, there were suggestions of some sort of negotiation between Mr. Isogi and the British government.
In exchange for his silence in court, he was given an assurance that he would be broken out of prison. Yes, with that sort of clandestine agreement in place, I can imagine he would have kept very quiet.
I would go further than that, in fact. I would say that the elaborate jailbreak of Mr. Isogi can be explained in no other way.
Order! First fabricated evidence and now a jailbreak conspiracy.
Of course, because it's all innately, intimately linked. Prosecution wishes... Spam the tongue emote, everyone. The prosecution wishes to summon new witnesses to the stand. Witnesses? People who can testify about the jailbreak that took place 10 years ago.
Ah. Governor Caden and the poor chief warder of the prison.
I won't allow this trial to turn into a farce. To summon the governor of the prison after all these years. Oh, it wouldn't be any trouble, my lord. What?
Father.
My dear friend may appear a little rattle-padded. Rattle-padded. But I can assure you he's extremely thorough. He wired both Barclay and the local prisons earlier. Asking Governor Caden and Mr. Vigil to attend the Old Barley is a matter of extreme urgency.
Mr. Sholmes did that?
Are you telling me that...
Both men are, unless I'm much mistaken, waiting just outside the courtroom at this very moment. Ow! 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 Ow, 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 ow!
My lord, you must permit this trial to proceed as you declared at its outset. You promised me that we would stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth behind these disturbing findings.
Gotti. Bonk.
Very well, bring in the witnesses. Make no mistake, I too would like nothing more than to lay this business to rest once and for all.
He lying. Why you always lying? Oh my god. Boop, 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 boop. No talk about no! Man, so if this is your first stream here, I don't know what to tell you just in a general sense, but I like giving Vigil the old voice I did that I gave for what was Whispers, or what was his name? It was Stories? I don't remember. But I'm gonna give him that voice if it doesn't look like it fits. The other Gossip, thank you. If the other guy have such a hard time doing his voice because it's like thick Irish Scottish or whatever it is.
The new witnesses state their name and occupation, please.
So he's gonna be tough. Hi, Barry Caden, governor of Barclay Prison.
Everyone calls me Gossip. I sell Johnny little tidbits to passers-by.
Your other persona, if you don't mind.
Oh, I do beg your pardon, of course. I'm not going to be changing my name, though, as the Catboy just mentioned. He just explained it. My name is Daily Vigil. I used to be the chief warder at Barclay Prison.
The reason you've been summoned here today, to court today, is to testify about the court to jailbreak today, the court of the so-called professor 10 years ago. In court today. Gosh, the professor! We've already been through all this before, a decade ago. The conclusion was that there wasn't anything untoward happened.
A convict escaped from your prison, Governor. Quite hardly what you'd call nothing untoward.
Ah, well.
The convict's death certificate was somehow falsified after he was allegedly executed. And he escaped the prison inside his own coffin. A plan of that complexity could never have been carried out with the help of somebody of influence without the help of somebody in the prison.
Governor Caden, don't imagine that the passage of time will afford you any protection.
Hydrate, you got it, Jose.
If it turns out that you were involved in the plot to break Mr. Estogi out of your prison, then, of course, the consequences will be very serious. In all likelihood, a capital punishment. Gads, hold on there, laddie. All I did was... Witness, Governor Caden.
Hi, sir.
You have a crucial role to play in the public safety of our country, a great responsibility to shoulder. The significance of your testimony in court cannot be understated. Therefore, think carefully before you speak. Prosecutor Stogie, if you threaten the witness again, you will be held in contempt of court.
He's trying everything to get this to not go our way.
My apologies, my lord.
There's no disputing the fact that an intricate jailbreak plot was enacted 10 years ago. Clearly, if you were both involved in some way... Clearly you were both involved. So you will testify before the court now and explain exactly what took place.
Very well. Let the witnesses give their formal testimony. Tell the court everything you know of the plot to break Asogi out of Barclay 10 years ago. Do it. Quickly.
Maria's gone. Does she come back?
It was the day the Japanese jock was found guilty. The detective came from the prosecutor's office.
The directive?
I assigned the convict to the chief warder Vigil here and put the plan into action behind the scenes.
I was responsible for Asogi right up until the night of his execution, but I knew nothing of any plot.
I didn't ken if there was some negotiations between the convict and the prosecutor's office. All I did was carry out my duty, and for Her Majesty's Great British Empire.
Oh, okay. Oh, somebody's car alarm's going off. Oh, it stopped. Everything's fine. Cosmo, witness, tell the truth. If that truth is that you were complicit, then you're gonna die. A directive from the prosecutor's office. Are you saying that that was the jailbreak plot?
Aye, that's right. Who sent it? Who authorized that plan?
I didn't ken that.
You're saying you don't know?
Sort of.
Listen, there was nae thing I could do about the professor case. There was nae unusual in some way.
Breeze, hello. Like you can jump between accents is so cool. Thank you. It's not practiced. I just stream a lot of these games. You know what I mean? Most of the voices I feel are just like pretty okay, in varying degrees. But then there's like guys like this where I just can't do them at all. But guys like Vigil, where I like doing the voice quite a bit. I appreciate you.
Didn't ask any questions, I just did what I was told to do. More than that, I couldn't tell you.
I see.
But if the jailbreak plan originated from the prosecutor's office, then one thing is very clear. As suspected, there were clandestine dealings going on between Mr. Isogi and that office. The jailbreak was promised in exchange for Mr. Isogi admitting to crimes he didn't commit. That, Counsel, is nothing more than speculation on your part.
I originally gave this guy and, the Isogi, the other Isogi, the same voice because he had died and now he's not dead, so I had to switch Strongheart's voice up. I was like, surely, I mean, he's dead, right? Foolish me.
So let me ask the defense.
They have similar voices now. Oh, yes, my lord. Hello. It's me.
I fail to see how these witnesses have any more pertinent information here. Do you intend to assert your right to cross-examine?
Duh! Idiot!
Seems all you Japanese are fiercely tenacious.
Wow.
Very well. Proceed, Counsel.
The day the Japanese jock was found guilty. And you say you didn't know who actually issued the directive?
Aye, that's right. All I can be sure of is that it was official. But if it was from the prosecutor's office, that narrows down who could have issued it straight away.
But it wasn't me.
I can't even say with certainty that it did originate from the prosecutor's office.
What?
There's no telling when it started. There's a fair chance it came from higher up the ladder. Basically, I cannot give you any indication of who was behind it.
You can't be serious.
All we can say for sure is that the order must have come from somebody in authority, I suppose.
The likes of us on the ground, as it were, didn't bother with idle speculation. We just get the job done.
Let me see, Rinosuke. I can hear your voice go, Mr. Naruhodo! Mr. Naruhodo! Because she loves saying it. It's one of these things, right? Because she's very formal. So she always says all the honorifics, you know what I mean? I feel like Rinosuke only sometimes says the honorifics. But she's like, yeah, all the time. Kazuma pulled an MIA, but in a different way. Sound like Toad. Hello! I'm Toad!
Signed the convict with the chief ward of Vigil here. Put the plan into action behind the scenes.
Bum, 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 bum. So, Mr. Vigil, you didn't know anything about it at all.
That's right. My only role in the scheme was a scapegoat. That's right, isn't it, Governor?
Some poor beggar had to take the rap for it.
I want 10 years of back pay.
All right, then. Who else did know about the plan?
You're a wonderful flute. What the heck?
I've no idea in the first, laddie. My part in the whole business was basically just dealing with the aftermath. But I wouldn't have been surprised if there was other folk in the prison service who had given similar orders.
So you don't know who else was involved?
Aye, that's right. All I can tell you is that the night it actually happened, the person at the reins was Dr. Stevens.
Dr. Courtney Stevens or Dr. Scythe, as she's known now?
Why'd I have to get caught up in such a terrible business? Woe is me. I was responsible for Isogi right up until the night of his execution, but I knew nothing of no plot. I'm innocent.
You know, my work neighbors here is a muffling, screaming Catboy. Wait, how about this? How about this? Ah! Did you not
not notice anything unusual happening in the lead up to that night? Oh, everything was unusual, exception after exception. After all, it was the professor, the man who had terrorized the country as never before with his crimes. In order to hide his identity, he was forced to wear an iron mask over his head. It was Leonardo DiCaprio. Hideous treatment. The fellow was surprisingly docile for someone who'd taken the lives of 5 of the country's nobles. Being the chief... Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Being the chief warder, I was the only person permitted to approach his cell. I can still hardly believe that I was duped by my own country. I believe you jumped from the window of the governor's office when the jailbreak was blamed on you, didn't you?
Oh, Vigil, I cannot apologize enough.
No, Governor, I don't believe you can. It won't change what's happened. But you could give me, like, a lot of money. Like, so much money.
It wasn't me. What else can you tell us about the situation, Governor Caden?
Well.
I didn't care if there was some negotiation between the convict and the prosecutor's office.
But you've already acknowledged that orders came from the prosecutor's office to arrange for the man's escape. Grab some water. Get hydrated, baby! There must have been some sort of negotiation. It's the only explanation!
Aye, well, it be that as may, I didn't care nothing about it. The witness stand is no place for telling you what you don't know for sure. I can that much, I do. And I presume you also know this. You're annoying. I hate you. Not telling what you do know is a criminal offense.
That's not true.
So you were just following orders, is that it? I'm afraid that won't absolve you of guilt here.
The man was still killed illegally, even if he was a condemned criminal. He may very well be found complicit in murder, Governor.
Well, that's what it's to be, is it? Even with the threat of conviction, you won't break your silence. All I did was carry out my duty for Her Majesty's great British Empire.
Filled water bottle. Hell yeah! Objection. Nuh-uh. What you mean, nuh-uh? Yeah, get a food in the stack. I'm gonna be going probably longer than usual today. Because we're beating this game. No matter what. Excuse me. I'm so burpy! I'm sorry! Did you carry out the plan to its entirety?
I did everything I could at the time. As you know, Genshin Isogi was shot dead in Lowgate Cemetery after the escape. Tell me, was that part of the plan too? My instructions were to do with getting the joke out of the jail, nothing more. I cannot tell you anything about what happened after that, only... Personally, I believe his death was the last part of the plan.
Excuse me. Hello, little gossipy boy. You want to beat this today? Set up your tents. This is the last piece of this. So, we'll see. Yes, sir. What can I do for you, sir? He's saluting now? What is it, some sort of Barclay convention? Governor Caden was just saying, seemed to upset you. Did it bring something to mind, perhaps? For the last 10 years, I've completely blotted out the memories of that time from my mind. I was betrayed by my superiors in the name of my country.
Just as my father was betrayed, it seems.
But you see, thinking back now, I really can't imagine that the shooting at Mr. Isogi in the cemetery was ever part of that plan. What makes you say that? Well, it just doesn't make sense, does it? To make the man admit to his crimes he didn't commit, with the promise of a jailbreak only to kill him in the end? That's treachery the worst kind, but the point is, if the intention was always to betray him, why would there be any need for all the chicaneries of an escape? Ah. Yes, that's quite true.
If whoever negotiated with Isogi never intended to keep his or her end of the bargain, it would have been far simpler to let the man be executed in prison as dictated by his sentence. It all happened in that vast chamber of secrets that is Barclay, behind the high prison walls.
Are you talking about Animal Crossing, Lila? You almost killed your villager. How do you even injure your villagers? What do you mean?
I suppose nobody knows what really went on in the execution room now. Yes, it's an unsettling mystery, certainly. Truth be told, there's a wee matter that never quite made sense to me.
Oh, in Minecraft. I'm not sure.
villager stuff is, like, confusing to me. If you can believe there was some kind of negotiation behind the jailbreak between Asogi and the body at the top. Doesn't quite add up, does it?
Governor Caden, I must insist that you explain these doubts that you have by amending your formal testimony.
Gods! Aye, go on then. Isa Ingi. Seems to me the Japanese fella didn't have nothing to bargain with.
Hold it!
Okay. Admitting to the crimes, that was what he had to do to that's what he had to bargain with, certainly. Gonna see to that myself. After all, did the prosecution have no conclusive evidence against the Carly? The Carly, eh? This, you mean, discovered during the final victim's autopsy. There's every possibility this conclusive evidence was fabricated by Scotland Yard and the prosecution's office. The possibilities are all very well, but nothing has been proven. You can holler about misconduct in the trial 10 years ago all you like. But if you can't establish that it happened with hard evidence, no one's going to listen. Aye, that's right. So what I'm saying is, the convict had nothing he could use for any kind of bargaining at all. The witness makes an astute point. Logically, it would seem no negotiation could have taken place.
And yet the plan to break the man out of prison was definitely put into practice. So he must have been armed with something that gave him an angle to negotiate.
It's probably the Asogi papers, probably.
So Asogi-san agreed to do that thing. I don't really think Kazuma-sama's father would have engaged in such negotiations.
And perhaps something compelled him to agree.
What a terrible thing. I don't care. Whatever. I don't care. It's me, Sasato! Wow!
Yeah, I mean, I don't see how this could be anything but the Asogi. That's all he had.
Objection!
Dope. Confessing under oath to murders he didn't commit on a verbal assurance of later being broken out of prison, Genshin Asogi was taking an incredibly risky gamble. Very true. There was nothing to stop the British breaking their word and executing him behind closed doors anyway. Under normal circumstances, no man would stake his life on a gentleman's agreement like that.
Which means that Mr. Asogi must have had a trump card. Something that guaranteed he wouldn't be betrayed. Some kind of weapon.
Avis, the fella couldn't have possibly had anything like that.
But you know that he did, Governor. The Asogi Papers, the name given the last will and testament of Genshin Asogi.
Ah!
It turns out that Mr. Asogi was hiding his will in his cell at Barclay. Chief Warder Vigil caught him with it one day.
You squealed, didn't you, we were at? Did I not tell you to keep that a secret?
Well, it's been 10 years.
You can't touch me now.
Ah! When Mr. Vigil caught sight of that will through the bars of the convict cell, Mr. Asogi pleaded with the warder.
All right then, but what's on that paper? A last will and testament. This will is the only weapon I have left now. A weapon?
After the convict had been killed following the elaborate pretense of the jailbreak, that document mysteriously disappeared, didn't it?
Well, yes, all the prison warders searched through the belongings of his cell, but that will was just nowhere to be found.
As I understand it, an exhaustive search was made for the document, which became known as the Asogi Papers. Governor Caden, I believe you ordered your prison staff to find it at all costs, didn't you? Would I be right in saying that you knew that the so-called Asogi Papers had the potential to make great waves somehow?
Jings, what in the blazes are you blethering about? The will was found right and proper. In this fella's cell where I said it would be. But how can that be? Where in his cell? We all searched the place from top to bottom. Well, you didn't do a proper job, you peely-wally galoot. You can't criticize me now. You're not my boss. I showed it to you before, didn't I not, you lawyer?
Yes, you did. I have the document here. It's written in Japanese and reads, The Last Will and Testament of Genshin Asogi.
Which means everything is as it should be.
Not quite, my lord. You see, there's an undeniable inconsistency here. We are all peely-wally galoots deep down, hey, that's right.
What inconsistency?
Mr. Asogi described this document as the only weapon he had left.
Oh gosh, excuse me. And yet this will contains nothing of significance at all. Nothing that would have given the convict any leverage.
Are you suggesting, my learned friend, that the last will and testament stored at Barclay Prison all these years is actually a fake?
As has clearly been demonstrated already, well, what went on at Barclay Prison was far from above board. I don't know why they're shocked about that. That's all true.
The last vilification by the defense was an affront to the entire British legal system. This absurd notion of a weapon is something for which we have only the former Chief Warder's word. The man could quite easily be lying, or at the very least, sorely mistaken.
What? No! I definitely heard him say that, I swear.
Clearly, we need to get to the bottom of this. We need to know exactly what happened with these so-called Asogi papers. A waste of time. If the will was fake, where's the real document?
Mr. Vigil was stabbed in the back by the judiciary 10 years ago. He lost everything, very nearly his own life. And now you're gonna do it again. You're ready to brand him a liar and turn your back on him without even letting him defend himself.
The Barclay Prison's hiding something.
Well, the jailbreak was...
Oh god. Declared some malicious... It's going so fast. Oh god.
What did you say?
Testify. Testify. Testify.
Yeah, testify.
Seems that a vocal few here are utterly blind to the truth. Very well, then. Let the witness testify again. Tell the court precisely what you think you saw of the moment's what?
What you think you saw of the convict's last will and testament. Okay.
Testify. Yes, sir, my lord. Sure. It's me. Gossip. Give me a sixpence. And none the richer. As the warder responsible for condemned convicts, I attended Mr. Asogi to keep watch over his cell. That night, he was found guilty in court, and he was doing something with that will in his cell. We turned the cell inside out looking for it after the execution, but to no avail.
I only found out about the Asogi papers when a directive came telling me to impound them. The document was in the folds of the fellow's robe that was left in his cell. A kimono, I think it's called.
What do you mean?
His kimono? That's a lie. We searched every inch of the man's cell. We looked through all his clothes. It can't be true.
Well, you're not satisfied with calling me a liar once, eh, you wee wafflinger? You waffinger?
Ah, there's nothing you can do about it now. You don't have any hold over me anymore. Other than the hold you like to take on my cravat, of course. Is that what you're gonna do, is it?
He's just faking it. It's all out.
Are you gonna give me a good shake again? Are you too scared?
He's just there it is. Little and large, what a double act.
We compiled the Asogi's will as far as was possible, as all of the personal effects were delivered to his family home in Japan.
Shake me more. I love it.
As a courtesy to the homeland of the most notorious killer our country has ever seen. And we were much obliged. I can confirm that all of my father's belongings arrived safely.
Aye, you cannot deny the handwriting is that of your old man, eh?
Yes, there's no mistaking that it's my father's brushwork.
Excuse me once more. I'm so burpy. I'm sorry. I'm still getting over my stomach issues.
And this last will and testament was the man's last weapon, was it? I think we can safely assume that the convict was merely prattling, knowing that his end was nigh. So, counsel for the defense, your cross-examination, please.
Coffee cat burp. I'm a little burpy boy.
Yes, my lord. Oh.
As a warder responsible for condemned convicts, I attended to Mr. Asogi and kept watch over his cell.
I love his voice so much. I'm gonna be honest with you. Every time he speaks, I am happy to do his voice. So, would that mean that you converse with Mr. Asogi?
Yeah, certainly. There was precious little time before his execution was due. He was remarkably calm, considering his days were very much numbered. In all honesty, he really didn't strike one as a man capable of mass murder.
Yet he confessed in full to his crimes.
I know, that's why I felt compelled to ask him one day. I can still recall his reply. I'm guilty of the unforgivable crime of ending another human's life, yes. But he was so tranquil and intelligent, it put me in the mind of an Eastern holy man.
What about the will you saw him with? What can you tell us about that? I'm gonna pour more water. Ooh, it's still cold. Hell yeah. I have a big 40-ounce bottle here.
It was the beginning of all the drama. I remember it very well, yes.
Here we go. Bubble, bubble, toilet trouble, babies. I don't know if you can hear that, but... Sometimes when I'm on VC with friends, they're like, it sounds like you're using a bong when you pour your water. And I'm like, no, I don't own one of those. I'm just pouring water from my big water bottle into a cup. Okay.
Beginning of all the drama. I remember it very well, yes. The night after he was found guilty in court, he was doing something with that will in his cell.
Oops. Hold it! His little slap. And he pleaded with you not to report him, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right.
I like the bum party, you didn't tell me. A blatant breach of trust, that was.
I could see that the man had a noble spirit. I found myself wanting to treat him accordingly.
But according to what you told us 2 days ago, the convict had been strictly forbidden from having any writing materials whatsoever.
Yeah, you're right. You're quite right, in fact.
So what exactly was the will penned?
That was before the man was remanded in Barclay, obviously. Yes, at the prosecution's office under supervision of the relevant authorities. I personally instructed Asogi to make the will for the benefit of his family in his homeland.
In that case, why was it found in his cell?
What do you mean by that?
Well, if it was penned at the prosecutor's office, you would have expected it would remain there for safekeeping, surely. Ah! It's curious. There doesn't seem to be any obvious explanation for why it was subsequently found in the convict's cell.
Oh, well. The defense makes an astute point, well, Governor.
Genshin had immaculate vibes.
Prison Governor cannot be expected to ken the inner workings of the prosecutor's office. In that case, Lord Strongheart, perhaps you can shed some light on the matter. I'm unable to offer an explanation here and now. I would have to consult with the notary responsible for the will at the time. The fact that my father's will was discovered in his cell is clearly inconsistent with what was expected. I want to know why.
Another inexplicable mystery, then.
Well, the thing about that will. Let me just tell you more about it. We turned the cell inside out looking for it after the execution, but to no avail.
It was the governor who ordered the search for the will, as I understand it. Is that right?
Yeah. When I reported back that we couldn't find it, he grabbed me by the cravat and yelled,
It just pops. It's like... There's no animation where it isn't popped out.
And yelled, I can't have disappeared completely in my face.
Aye, well, it done to the governor to keep everybody working as hard as they should.
I think the governor needs a wee taste of his own medicine.
No, I know what a cravat is. I know that's what his cravat is. But it's all out, because the animation is the other guy's grabbing it. But even when he isn't grabbing it, it was, like, still out. You know what I mean? The point is, it was clearly considered a very important document, wasn't it?
But it proved impossible to find.
That's right. Then before I knew it, it was in the morning paper, the blood-curdling article. The executed mass murderer had risen from the dead.
Oh, you mean...
Oh my god. Excuse me. The article based on Mr. Drebber's experience in Lowgate Cemetery.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one. That's the newspaper that ruined my life. The day after I'd read that news, I was summoned to the governor's office. And that's when the awful accusation was made.
That you'd aided Genshin Asogi to escape from the prison, resulting in your immediate dismissal.
I'm afraid I really don't remember anything after that.
Governor of the prison, I had no choice. I couldn't have done anything else. I only found out about the Asogi papers when the directive came telling me to impound them.
Hold it! Bum, 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 bum. And that directive came from the same source as the one instructing you about the jailbreak.
Aye, from the top levels of the prosecutor's office. What name was on it?
I didn't ken before and I didn't ken now. All I can tell you is that my orders were doing everything in my power to find that document. The directive said it had to be somewhere inside the fella's cell. Document? Was that the wording? Document, not will? Aye, that's what it said. Am I clutching at straws here? I just wonder if it was really Genshin Isogi's last will and testament that the sender of the directive was after. Continue with your testimony then, witness. The document was in the folds of the fellow's robe that was left in his cell, a kimono.
Hold it!
Mr. Isogi's kimono? Aye, the one he'd brought with him that when he was locked up. Yes, he was permitted to have his personal effects with him during his incarceration, I understand. Well, that's alright, he was granted as much freedom as possible during the few days before his execution.
Indeed, he had a number of items of personal significance, I remember. He was very reluctant to part with them. Some books, that kimono, his sword.
His sword?
Karuma, the famous sword of the Isogi clan. It bears the soul of my family.
I don't doubt it, but he really wasn't getting at that. Forget it being the soul of the clan. Could the man have had a more obvious weapon?
Have some respect, Ryunosuke.
Respectful silence?
The warders carry firearms at all times, and the inmates have shackles around their ankles. They couldn't have hurt anybody with that thing.
Still, he was allowed a sword but no writing materials?
Aye. He wrote that to Will afore he came to stay with us at Barclay, you see. Dr. Mikotoba was asked to bring the necessary Japanese writing implements to the prosecutor's office.
Suzuri Inkstone, Black Sumi ink, and some Hachi rice paper, no doubt.
I was present when he wrote it, but I'm sorry to say, the letters looked like a squirming mess of jet black earthworms to me.
Excuse me.
What up, baby? Tell me your secrets.
Are you feeling faint, Mr. Vigil?
Mr. Vigil!
Sir, I was Scarlet, sir.
What?
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I didn't mean to blurt it out like that. I'm a big blurter, you see. I love blurting.
Less swaying and more explaining would be helpful.
Is it something about the testimony we just heard? Have you recalled something of importance?
Something of importance, possibly or possibly not.
Unable to tell which way he's leading, I'm afraid.
My lord, the defense asks that Mr. Vigil be permitted to supplement his testimony with this, possibly or possibly not, important detail.
Permission granted.
Go ahead, Mr. Vigil.
Yeah, it was Scarlet. Violet, you're turning violet, Violet. As I remember it, the document was written in scarlet ink, but perhaps I'm mistaken.
Hold it!
Scarlet, you say?
Well, yeah, I mean, I only caught sight of it for a brief moment, of course. But even by the dim light of his cell, I remember thinking that it was an unusual color. At the very least, I'm quite sure it wasn't black.
Witness, is that really what you saw?
Ah, sir!
Is something wrong, Lord Strongheart?
I apologize. Continue.
What do you make of that, Mr. Naruhodo? Lord Strongheart to be so visibly shaken in that way.
Look, didn't have a... You can plainly see the writing here. It's black as the Earl of Hell's waistcoat.
Well, yes, you're right. Mr. Vigil, I'd like to confirm one point with you. Did you actually see the content of the document that Mr. Isogi was holding that night?
Oh, well, no, I mean, there was no time. As soon as he noticed me there, he hid it behind his back.
But it was definitely a will, was it?
Yeah, it was. That's what Mr. Isogi told me.
Court needs waste no further time on this matter. We have the will in question in our possession. There's nothing more to add.
Will written in scarlet ink. What did Mr. Vigil really see Kazuma's father holding, I wonder?
You have an inkling, Mr. Naruhodo.
You must present it to the court at once! Get it? Cause ink? Okay, I remember a clue talking about, I think it was in the autopsy report. Recent scarlet ink stains visible on the little ring fingers, but no corresponding ink was found. Interessante. J-Mama, hello, good morning. Very serious case, but the puns are unstoppable. We're doing great. But your text color changed. From blue to orange. Yeah, we're gonna... Yeah, let's present the autopsy report. Look at those. Back with water, hell yeah! Get a good lunch. Not that autopsy report. There's so many clues. Let me, actually, let me save again. I only have 3. I keep messing up. I keep hecking the dang all of it. A baked potato, put lots of sour cream on it. That's also, that's the second, Willy Wonka quote. Okay, present. Hey. Boo, 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 boo. Scarlet-colored writing is what you said you thought you saw, Mr. Vigil. I believe that's exactly what you did see.
What?
Have a second. You have no evidence to say that.
Thinking to make a baked potato fillet with beef stew? Whoa, what the heck? That sounds really yummy. Have a look at this report.
Well, that's my brother's autopsy report.
Excuse me. And yeah, and there's something in here that's bothered me since I first read it. It states that scarlet-colored ink stains were noted on the fingers of the victim's right hand.
Yes, so it does.
Scarlet ink. Now, I'm not familiar with the habits of the British aristocracy, I freely admit. But I would hazard a guess that they don't all go around with ink stains on their fingertips, do they?
Your wit is not appreciated. My brother was a well-bred and fastidious man. Should ink have sullied his fingertips, he would have cleaned them immediately. What is your point, counsel?
My point is this. Whatever Lord Clint Van Zeeks was writing in that unusually colored ink, it must have been directly before his death, because he died before he had the opportunity to clean his hand.
What? I remember something he told me at the scene. The lid of my brother's inkwell was open. But Clint was punctilious about such things. It seemed unusual.
Not begin to tell you how attracted I am to Van Zeeks. You are certainly not the only one. They designed him to be, you know, everybody's favorite.
And no document, except for Maria Gori, and no document penned in the color of the ink that was in the inkwell was ever found, or Gina Lestrade. So the document had disappeared. Are you suggesting that the document my father had in his hand that night in his cell was
the same document that Lord Clint Van Zeeks was writing moments before his death?
Well, then, it was.
If Mr. Vigil's testimony is to be believed, it can only mean that, yes. Mr. Vigil!
Sir!
When you spotted Mr. Asogi with the document in his cell, his precise words were as follows, were they not?
Alright then, but what's on that paper?
A last will and testament. This will is the only weapon I have left now. A last will and testament?
Ah! If the conversation really did go as Mr. Vigil says, then what we know now completely changes the meaning of what Mr. Asogi said.
You really think?
Mr. Vigil did indeed see the convict with a will. But it wasn't that of Genshin Asogi. It was the last will and testament of Lord Clint Van Zeeks!
No! What?
What the hell, y'all?
Objection!
Yeah.
This is madness. Oh, shoot. My brother's last will and testament, but that would mean he had chosen to die.
That is what it would mean, yes.
No, impossible. That is utterly out of the question.
Lord Van Zeeks!
Clint was pursuing the professor. It consumed him day and night. Whatever happened, he would never have abandoned his investigation before its conclusion. Never. He wouldn't rest until the job was done, until the killer was caught. The idea that he would willingly accept his own death is obscene. And yet, we can be sure that he was writing his will moments before his death.
And that Genshin Asogi came to be in possession of that document. So what could the will possibly have contained?
Clearly something that couldn't be made public under any circumstances whatsoever. Because armed with that document, my father was able to negotiate with the judiciary for his life.
was something so damning that it prompted the powers that be to enact that daring jailbreak plot. Yes, there can be no question that the will contained information of the utmost secrecy.
Information of the utmost secrecy? Ah! No, it couldn't be.
Is he the professor? Is Clint the professor? Do you pair of bunny ears? I've heard more than enough. Pursuing this notion of a phantom will nobody can attest to having this notion of a phantom will nobody can attest to having seen serves absolutely no purpose. No, my lord, that's unacceptable. What did you say, counsel? The last will and oh my god, my thumb is so heavy. The last will and testament of Genshin Isogi had in his possession was that of Lord Clint Van Zeeks. All the testimony and evidence presented to the court has logically led us to that as a possibility. We have a duty to pursue the line of reasoning to its conclusion. But with no possible means of knowing the contents of the document, there is no line of reasoning to pursue.
Yeah. A reason why Lord Clint Van Zeeks, a man of high noble standing, would have chosen death. Information so secret, people in the Justiciary wouldn't be willing to negotiate the jailbreak of a condemned killer. The only explanation that fits those facts is the unthinkable truth that turns absolutely everything on its head. Yeah, he must have been, but it's just too hideous.
Mr. Naruhodo, what are you doing, bud? However the difficult the situation may become, you work with your client in pursuit of the truth. That's what you resolved to do when you entered the courtroom this morning, if I'm not mistaken, Mrs. Sato.
That's right.
Well, hold your head high. Keep soldiering on.
Yes, you're right. 10 years ago, in his final moments, Lord Clint Van Zeeks left behind a will. A will that Genshin Isogi was able to use as a weapon to negotiate his escape from prison. In all probability, the details in the will were related to the Professor case.
The defense's last statement is mere conjecture. What are you getting at, man? Ryunosuke!
As soon as these words come out of my mouth, there's no going back. I believe that the last will and testament of Lord Clint Van Zeeks was, in fact,
a confession.
He had to be the boy. The killer boy.
You can do this, Mr. Naruhodo! Hurry up!
I believe that Lord Clint Van Zeeks actually penned that day was a confession.
A confession?
Regarding the mass murderer known as the Professor and his true identity.
Enough, counsel. What are you saying? Do you even realize? A confession about the true identity of the Professor, that would mean...
Lord Van Zeeks, I appreciate this must be hard to take in. But it's the only explanation that fits. The killer that terrorized London a decade ago and became known as the Professor, the man believed to have murdered 5 members of the aristocracy, wasn't Genshin Isogi at all.
No, you can't be suggesting.
It was, in fact, the man believed to have been the 5th victim. Woo! Lord Clint Van Zeeks himself! Grr. He gurrs in Vampire. Arr!
It's finally open, isn't it, Pandora's box?
Great Van Zeeks family. They've been thoroughbreds in the British for years. Lord Clint Van Zeeks is a paragon of justice.
But he was actually a mass murderer? Oh my god, holy shit.
Oh my god.
My brother.
Oh, this is too awful. Look, poor Clint Van Zeeks. Lord Van Zeeks, I mean. Both of them.
I wonder, though, did he ever suspect?
Mr. Naruhodo!
Barrack Van Zeeks is a brilliant prosecutor. Is it conceivable that he didn't realize what his older brother really was?
Order in the court.
Lord Van Zeeks! The professor made use of an enormous hound as his murder weapon. Tell me, did your brother own a dog?
Yes, he did. Balmonk, he was a well-known hunting dog. People called him a giant. I don't believe this. When my brother would go hunting in the forest of the grounds behind the house, he always took Balmonk. After Clint's death, the creature passed away too, almost as if he were following his master. He was a magnificent hunting dog, worthy of the jewel-studded collar around his neck. Jewel-studded collar? Oh, wait a minute. We know about that.
Oh, that's right, though sadly, some years ago now, it was stolen by a thief who broke into the house one night.
Jewel-studded collar stolen by a thief. It so happens that myself and my colleagues have come across such a collar during our time in London.
How could you?
We stole it. This is a twist I called on my first run through the game. Back in one of the prison convos. Whoa! That's good. I had no idea. This hit me like a brick wall. There was an old emblem attached to the collar too, made of pure gold.
Full of blood.
It was topped with a small crown and bore an ornate capital letter B.
What? An emblem bearing the initial B?
Oh my, you know it?
It's the insignia of the Baskerville family.
What, the Baskerville? Why is that name coming up now?
Baskerville is the family name of my late brother's widow. The Hounds of Baskerville? Come on. The pure gold emblem was an heirloom which Clint acquired upon their marriage. There can be no doubt then, the collar you're describing was Balmong's.
Family insignia of Lord Clint Van Zieks' widow.
There was a considerable amount of blood on the collar when we saw it. Since we know the dog was used for hunting, it could have been from its quarry, of course.
But it could have equally been from human prey.
Oh, it's true then.
Clint Van Zieks really was a professor.
Impossible. These Japanese are making it up.
So, in fact, the person responsible for these murders of nobles and royals was a noble himself, and that threatened to be an enormous scandal that would irrevocably destabilize British society.
My father knew that and was using it to negotiate his way out of the unjust charges brought against him. But at the very last hour, those he'd bargained with betrayed him, slaying him mercilessly on foreign soil.
Well, can you deny it, Lord Strongheart?
10 years have passed, and still now the 6 million inhabitants of our great capital rest easy, believing that justice was done. That
Rue?
That though his anonymity remains, the diabolical murderer was caught and executed. Very well then, you may have the truth. Nothing but the truth.
Already going crazy about what Clint's odd death could mean. 100% believe that Genshin wasn't the professor. When Barrack said that most of the victims were corrupt nobles, but Clint wasn't corrupt, I was like,
Tell me when Clint really was.
That's smart.
Lord Clint Van Zieks was too pure of heart. When he became a prosecutor and went in pursuit of the black roots of crime, he drove himself into a corner. He became... He came to the uncomfortable realization that to fight the most fiendish of criminals requires one to become even more fiendish oneself.
Clint. My vampire brother.
19th century was a truly miraculous 100 years for Great Britain, and indeed the whole world. New industry, new technology, and with the birth of the Metropolitan Police Service, new law and order. But these dazzling new developments meant even deeper shadows were cast on society. Water sullied by factories, air thick with noxious fumes and crime, growing daily to fill the darkness. Lord Clint Van Zieks made it his mission to combat that darkness, but as time went on, it slowly ate at his soul, until eventually he was consumed. It's ironic, really, and somewhat surprising that the truth has once again been unearthed by a Japanese. Once again? What do you mean? 10 years ago, your father, Genshin Isogi, turned up at my office one night. I'm just gonna give him his prison voice. The professor? Yes, beyond all shadow of doubt. You must issue a warrant to search his home at once. Don't be absurd. The man comes from one of our country's most illustrious families. He's a paragon of justice here in the capital. Yes, that's the point. That's why none of you British can see it. He's using his noble status as a diversion, whilst he commits these atrocious crimes behind the scenes. Do you have evidence?
Goodsling, hello.
Nothing definitive as of yet. But he keeps an enormous savage hound on the estate. We'll need the full support of the judiciary for this. We're up against a member of the aristocracy. Though a large family estate has a fierce guard dog, you should know what's commonplace here in Britain. I'm sorry, but I can't possibly put Scotland Yard onto this based on the tenuous accusation of a visiting student.
No! Excuse me.
So I turned down Asogi's plea, and as a result, he took it upon himself to visit the Van Zeek's mansion on his own. We can only imagine now what happened between the two men. Though we know the outcome, of course, Lord Clint Van Zeek's perished. I don't believe this.
So in actual fact, Kazuma-sama's father did.
He made the late Lord Van Zeeks meet the same fate. He put a permanent end to the professor killings by taking the drastic measure of ending the perpetrator's life.
As soon as I heard, I hurried to the mansion. When I arrived, it was easy to grasp what had happened. And what of the will? Sogi must have already taken it. Nothing of that nature was found at the scene. We had no idea of the existence of such a document at the time.
Blink about it.
I was the only person who knew of the true identity of the professor, so I resolved to keep it a secret and to guard the secret to the bitter end.
So you're admitting to it, that you were behind it all?
It was you, then, who pinned the crimes on my father. I did what needed to be done in order to protect the law and order of the British Empire. Even if that meant employing an unforgivable ruse.
Then it was you who arranged this fabricated evidence.
I ordered that detective to take care of it, whilst keeping the truth from him, naturally. Gregson. Obviously, he opposed me at first.
Are you off your rocker? We can't do something like that.
There's no question that it was Asogi who murdered Lord Van Zeeks. The house staff have made statements that they saw the man running from the mansion that night.
Yes, well, I've no doubt that it was a Japanese fella. But we haven't got a shred of conclusive evidence against the man. And worse than that, he doesn't keep a dog, so we're short of a murder weapon to boot.
And we're short on time, Gregson. We must put a stop to this man's rampage for the good of the country. So we'll use whatever means necessary. Do I make myself clear, Detective? Blimey. So that night 10 years ago, when I was attacked by those thugs in the back streets, Genshin's ring was taken. That was him, was it? Oh, that was Gregson in some hired hell? Then the detective handed the stolen ring to Dr. Wilson, who feigned its discovery from the victim's stomach during that autopsy.
And in the light of that decisive evidence, Mr. Asogi was found guilty of the charges brought against him. However, behind the scenes, he had actually already struck a deal with his accusers, in which he agreed to silently accept the charges.
But I just don't believe that part. As far as I knew the man, my father despised such underhand dealings. It was extremely easy to make him comply. You see, he had one crippling weakness. What weakness? Isn't it obvious? You, Kazuma Asogi. Me?
Brr, 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 brr.
Perhaps you have no desire to return to your homeland, Asogi. What? Oh, I hear you have a 14-year-old son. He'll be 24 in 10 years. I'm good at math. Agree to comply and accept your guilt without contention, and you will see your Japan and your son again. You scoundrel! Whether you choose wisely or not, it will be a closed trial by order of Her Majesty. Whatever rash claims you might make in court will have no trouble in stifling them. There's only one outcome for you, Asogi. The gallows. Don't forget that I still have a weapon at my disposal. A document revealing a truth that I know you're desperate to keep hidden. Yes, it hadn't escaped my mind, which is the only reason I'm willing to bargain with you. I only want to protect this country's law and order, you understand. So, what's it to be, Asoki?
The love of a good parent for their child.
Kazuma. He did it for me.
Oh, wait.
He did it for me? And as I told him at the time, my motive was simply to protect Britain from the damage the truth would do. Protect this country's law and order at any cost.
Objection!
Yeah.
I've never dared myself to even consider this possibility until now, but in the light of all this treachery, I have to ask. The mastermind behind the Reaper of the Bailey. Was it you, Lord Mail Strongheart? A rather brilliant idea, wouldn't you say, Lord Baroque Van Zeeks? That the spirit of your late brother, that paragon of justice, should return to reap justice for his sibling. Could there be a more appetizing tale for London's masses, I ask you?
What? What brazen?
I knew that you'd play the part to perfection. But your role really wasn't that of some embodiment of death, no. You were London's guardian angel. An angel with bloody hands, I think not. Those who had cooperated with me already were only too happy to participate in my plan. Inspector Gregson, Dr. Wilson. My minions worked tirelessly.
Minions? Little yellow guys?
Worked tirelessly to ensure that the finger of guilt would never come to rest on you. It's all thanks to them that you were exalted as the demigod the Reaper became. But Dr. Wilson left Britain 4 years ago when he was invited to work in Japan. That's right, so I had to employ the services of his young protege after that. Dr. Courtney Scythe.
Dr. Scythe.
So what with the execution of the professor and the subsequent reign of the Reaper of the Bailey, I've successfully safeguarded law and order in our mighty capital for the past decade.
I get so sick for saying all this. Just also to all these witnesses. It's crazy.
That is everything.
Sorry for yawning. It's very exciting, but I'm tired. I'm still in sleep debt, as it were.
My lords, ladies, and gentlemen, I do hereby confess it was I who sired the concept of the Reaper. However, let me say in my defense, it was all for the preservation of law and order across the entire empire.
What Strongheart did it?
Unforgivable collection of crimes, but still.
Oh, there's a dive.
All there to keep London safe. This is how there is no one left now who can reveal the precise truth of what happened 10 years ago. Therefore, this trial can go no further. Now, I would like to entreat all those present. Beyond these four walls, nobody need know the truth. Even Her Majesty must be protected from this. I trust you all appreciate the importance of my request. It is, of course, for the good of the country.
Can he do this? The trial really ends now?
I have one last question.
Understand sleep debt for I'll never be out of sleep debt? Man, it's so real.
For the accused Lord Van Zeeks. What? Of course I know that you're a highly accomplished prosecutor, so I find it hard to believe that you didn't have any doubts at all. That you never suspected your older brother.
Yes, the same thought occurred to me.
I'm in denial. It was only once, but yes, I couldn't say that I never had my doubts. My brother's sense of justice was extremely strong, perhaps too strong, I observed. At that time, there were members of the aristocracy who were bleeding the country dry for their own gain, and since they were nobles, they were untouchable. For my brother, it was a source of great turmoil. And coincidentally, at the same time, the professor began his terrifying reign. During the time of the professor killings, my brother did not appear to be himself.
And that made you suspect? That made you suspect?
Yes, but it was only once, not more.
Only once, really? Clint wasn't the culprit. That was my conclusion at the time, and I still believe that now.
Do you have any evidence to support that idea?
The third victim was the Lord Chief Justice at the time. It was he who had recognized my brother's potential and trained him as a prosecutor. No matter what the circumstances, it's unthinkable that my brother could have killed his friend and mentor. That's crazy. Maybe he's not the professor, actually.
That will do. Neither Clint Van Zeeks nor Genshin Isogi still walk this earth. However much we debate this now, we cannot hope to reach a conclusion.
But
there are only two extant pieces of evidence from the time. The woebegone ring that acted as the incriminating evidence to condemn Genshin Isogi, and the 3-page last will and testament penned in black ink and left behind by the man. The wretched truth of what happened is exactly as I've explained.
Isn't it great that the masses thought your dead brother was a murderous ghost haunting you, which led to your isolation and constant threats of your 10 life? Wasn't that cool? Wasn't that fun?
Later today, I will present myself with the Ministry of Justice for whatever sanction is deemed appropriate. That is all. Court is adjourned.
That can't be all. Objection. Yeah. Boom. Schmar. Ah! Lila. Whoa! Thank you, Kazuma.
Me?
If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have made this 11th hour discovery.
What discovery?
My lord, I'm afraid I must insist the trial continues.
I beg your pardon.
As the court has been reminded today already, we must stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth, and to that end, one particular statement made by somebody in this courtroom moments ago revealed a very subtle contradiction.
What contradiction? All I did was ask the accused one simple question.
Well, it began with Lord Van Zeeks and his recollection about his brother. Lord Strongheart didn't permit the defendant to speak at length.
I merely pointed out that we can draw no further useful conclusions here. So where on earth is the contradiction?
One of them definitely just said something contradictory. Probably Lord Strongheart. It was Lord Strongheart, I'm sure of it. Something he said was slightly off. Come on, Renosuke, think back over his words, find the problem.
Neither Clint Van Zeeks nor Genshin Isogi still walk this earth. However much we can debate this matter now, we cannot hope to reach a conclusion. There are only two extant pieces of evidence from the time.
Yeah, the ring is... we have the ring. 3-paged last will and testament. But we have the ring. We don't have the papers. Or, wait. Lord Strongheart, would you care to explain?
Explain what, counsel?
Among the statements you made just a few moments ago, something you said was inconsistent with a certain piece of evidence we have.
Inconsistent?
And whilst an inconsistency remains, the defense has a right to pursue an explanation. Well...
Renosuke, what the hell are you doing? We warn you about the statements you're making, counsel. They may very well prove fatal.
Let me, save. It's gotta be the ring, but I feel like this is one of those ones that's gonna kill me if I get it wrong. Oh, just one.
You claim my words contained a contradiction. With what
It's the ring. We're gonna present the ring. We have the ring, baby. What does woe begone mean? Okay, hold on. Oh, no, it's the... Okay, hold on. No, I'm being a silly Billy, because literally we have the will. What am I talking? I did it backwards. Start playing, yeah. Sadly, can I get the will? Yeah, we don't have the will. Hold on. I'm being a silly Billy. Because he says we don't have the will, but, like, we do have the Isogi papers.
Take that!
This here is the will left behind by Mr. Isogi. The 2-page will. Yeah, that's what I thought it meant, but I was like, oh, well, we have both those things, and I'm like, oh, wait, I'm being silly. Yet moments ago, your precise words were, the 3-page last will and testament. Ugh. Could it be that originally... Oh, it's got a 3rd page! Oh my god. For a moment, I thought perhaps you'd identified something worthwhile, but it's a mere trifle, I see.
A trifle?
Governor Caden! What can I do for you, sir? You were present when the Japanese man penned his last will and testament. I was there for sure. I remember the black worm-like scrolls to this day. And I'm quite certain, my lord, that there was a third page at the time. What? Only the first 2 pages were the actual will, though. If I mind correctly, the third was a message to his lad back in Japan. For legal purposes, we required only his will. We wouldn't have wanted any uncomfortable words about Britain to get back to Japan, huh? So it was decided that the third page ought not be sent.
Objection.
How dare you make that decision? I had a right to know what it said. I had to hear my father's final words to me. Courtroom is no place for sentimentality, counsel. As it happens, I have the third page of the document with me here now. How convenient. My father's message will be given to you at the end of these proceedings.
It'll be too late once the trial's over. We need to know what it says now. Even the slightest thing may give us a vital clue. My lord, the defense calls for Genshin Isogi's last words to his son to be read out loud before the court now.
Your request is denied. The inevitably maudlin words can be of no consequence
Objection.
now. The prosecution agrees. The court should know the content of that message. Every possible piece of evidence must be thoroughly examined. Very well then, Governor Caden. You will read the third page of the document for all present to hear. Yes, sir! Only, I should point out, my lord, that I cannot actually read the worm language. Beautiful handwriting. Shame on you, Barry. Oh. What?
Aye.
Shame on you, Barry.
Barricade. I'm sure I learned that earlier, but it's funny all over again. His name is Barry Caden.
If I could be of some assistance here, I'd be happy to translate the words into English for the court.
Mother!
You're still here, are you, Dr. Mikatoba? Naturally, I consider myself a member of the judiciary, albeit a lowly one. Perhaps I should quietly withdraw after I've translated Genshin's message. Cooperation is much appreciated.
Bum 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 bum.
Kazuma, the truth is shrouded in darkness, a darkness only our clan's great sword can pierce. Mighty Karuma, twist thy head and watch them fall, all thy mortal foes. That's the end of the message, it would seem.
A haiku poem, twist thy head.
Father, what is Karuma? The name of the Isogi clan's famous sword. A razor-sharp blade known to all, passed down for generations. It embodies the Japanese spirit. It's not known to me.
It's the katana sword that was submitted as evidence earlier in these proceedings. The one worn by the prosecution counsel when he confronted Inspector Gregson. Oh my god. So wait, can I twist the damn sword now?
All these procrastinations are beginning to try my patience. Adjournment for this court is long overdue. As the presiding judge, I have been as accommodating as possible of the will in the courtroom. However, despite all that, no new information has come to light.
Mycella, hello. Who are we choosing in the mob vote? Oh, I haven't seen it. Is this Minecraft? I haven't seen it at all. I haven't played Minecraft in a long time. But how are you? Hello.
Pursuit of justice, Lord Clint Van Zeeks tragically lost all sense of morality. When he murdered his former mentor, clearly he was already devoid of his normal faculties.
Objection!
How dare you! I refuse to believe that of my brother. Too much time has passed. We cannot ever hope to know more than we do now. Especially since the alleged will that he penned in his final moments appears to have been lost forever.
Oh.
Lord Strongheart, you appear to be in something of a hurry to wrap things up. I wonder why. We've heard you say time and time again during these proceedings that everything you did was in the interest of protecting British law and order. And I stand by that. Without the Reaper, we could have never achieved the reduction in crime the capital has seen.
What about Inspector Gregson, then?
And Dr. Wilson.
They were no criminals. You used them to achieve your ends, and then you had them killed.
However you dressed it up, there was nothing fair or just about that.
Lord Strongheart, what exactly is it that you're hiding? Dr. Mikatoba, were you not to quietly withdraw after the translation of your former associate's will? In this courtroom, no argument carries weight unless it is supported by evidence. And it would seem that the defense has no more evidence to present.
I don't know if I can, like, look at the sword. Oh. Twist the head. Mighty Kuruma. Yeah, here we go. Yeah! It's the proper way to use a sword, is it? Maybe I should try it. Hurts my neck. That's the trouble.
Mr. Naruhodo, may I make a suggestion? I think perhaps it doesn't mean your
Oh.
I once studied the history and development of the katana some time ago. I'm sure as you're probably aware, the sword's head is a part at the very end of the hilt. It's written as head in Japanese, but it pronounces Kashira, I believe.
Shira. But Mr. Asogi's words really mean twist the butt of the hilt? You don't think. Oh, baby, there's a will in there. Look what's inside it.
Is that tightly wound sheet of parchment?
Ah, red ink. Scarlet ink. It's written in scarlet ink. I penned this, my last will and testament, in the final moments before my inevitable and willing death. This is it, isn't it?
It's an Naruhodo! Look at the signature at the end.
Lynn Van Zeeks. And the date, 10 years ago on that fateful night.
So for 10 years, it's been silently concealed inside Kuruma and nobody knew. This last will and testament of Lord Good Van Zeeks!
Wait, my goodness. Look at this. This is unbelievable. Can I not just read it? I would like to read it, but it won't let me examine it.
In which case,
I also just love, aesthetically, narratively, that, like, this is happening on screen, you know, all the him being all this, and we're like scurried off in the corner, and we're just like, we're gonna play with this sword for a little while. Oh, and a will. Oh wow, we'll just hold on to this. Nobody saw that, right? Nobody saw that.
I hereby order all discord from these proceedings to be struck from the record.
No.
This is my last chance. It's Naruhodo. I have to present some decisive evidence now or it's all over. Yeah, baby. Oh, you better gosh damn believe it. Wait, my lord. As it happens, the defense does have evidence to present.
What are you even saying? There's nothing of relevance remaining from the time.
Objection.
The examination's a little funky.
It's high time that you realize something, my lord. This gentleman has an uncanny habit of producing evidence at that final hour that had escaped everyone else's attention. Nonsense. What is it, Ryunosuke? Hurry up!
I dare say, the final decisive piece of evidence that will reveal the whole truth about this rotten tale.
How can you?
I pre-watched the will so I could have this moment.
Decisive? Well, it would appear there's no escaping it now, my lord. Let it be so then. Present whatever you think you have so that we can settle this decade-old enigma, if you're capable.
What is it? What's the evidence? We're gonna present the will. And then it's wrong, and I'm like, what? There is a single piece of evidence. There's a... Hold on. Oh my god. I had a burp trap for like ever, and I was like, There's a single piece of evidence that can clarify what really happened 10 years ago.
The last will and testament of Lord Good Van Zeeks.
Ah, a wonderfully astute observation, I'm sure. But in case it had escaped your notice, that document was lost long ago.
That's right, it was, but I just found it right here in the sword that I've had for a year now. I have it right here, discovered just moments ago.
Impossible! That can't be!
Everything that's happened comes back to this will. This document is the key that will unlock the entire mystery.
Oh, look at him!
He's upsetty spaghetti, y'all. My brother's last will and testament. Where did you find that?
It was rolled up in this.
Inside Karuma.
That ultimate weapon Genshin Isogi obtained has lain undisturbed in the hilt of this sword all these years. I guess if he was allowed to have his sword with him. Just waiting for the right time to emerge and reveal the truth.
The signature and seal certainly look official. My god, it's true. It's my brother's handwriting. There can be no mistake. I forbid the contents of that document from being read out. Do you hear me? I strictly forbid it.
Yeah, nah. You can't do that, my lord. This document could explain everything.
That document could literally destroy the meaning of justice in this country. I demand that you hand it to me at once.
Why? What are you trying to hide?
Could it be
That you already know what's written on this page?
Ah, what are you implying? Court is adjourned with immediate effect. Clear the courtroom. Do that, my lord. And you'll suffer a fatal blow as Lord Chief Justice. I beg your pardon. Forcibly ending a trial without a good reason. And not any trial, a closed trial by order of Her Majesty the Queen. To defy the monarch's will is treason. Oh,
Leg!
look at those cardboard cutouts.
What if Isaac really did pen it?
It's exactly as the young Japanese man said.
Read it out! Go!
They have a right to hear what's in that will. A right and a duty.
Well, well, my lord. It would rather appear as though proceedings aren't quite going as you'd hoped. Look at that. You fools. Go ahead, Ryunosuke, read it! The prosecution gives its full support.
I think you do that leg thing on students. That's so funny. Very well. He was a fan of this game.
No, for God's sake.
Wait here for a while. He's so angry. Read it! Oh my god!
I'll just give him Van Zeek's voice. I pen this, my last will and testament, in the final moments before my inevitable and willing death. The hour is 11 p.m. and I sit at my writing desk in my office. My good friend Asogi stands at my shoulder. He has expressed his intent to invoke the dying ritual of the duel, that I may depart this world with honor. An honor in which I am utterly undeserving. The Japanese are a truly merciful people.
He's like, hurry up.
I, Clint Van Zeeks, Lord of the Manor of the Van Zeeks Estate, hereby confess to the following. I am the killer who has come to be known in society as the Professor, guilty of 4 counts of murder. I will not here discourse the corruption rife among the aristocracy, which is to me, as one of them, so apparent. However, 6 months ago I took the life of a member of the House of Lords at the heart of the depravity. A demon who habitually sacrificed the common man to further his own interests, abusing his position of power. The law is impotent against such vile avarice. Only a fellow demon can rid society of this menace. That demon was my quarry, upon whom I willingly set my great hound. But though I am a hunter of some experience, I am a poor felon, it seems. My guilt was at once recognized by another, and I became subject to his extortion. He held over me the threat of exposing my wicked crime to my beloved wife and brother. Under that threat, I have done this man's bidding for months now, killing those he demanded I kill. As I watched my former mentor perish before my eyes at the jaws of the hound I commanded, I realized that I had lost the last shred of decency within me and sunk to the level of a wild beast. What a shock. There is no path back to the light, be it I or a dear friend Asogi who dies this night. I am eternally damned. To my extortioner, male strong heart, may you feel the jaws of the beast at your throat every time you swallow. Hell yeah, what a curse.
Why are you smiling?
He probably meant a different male strong heart. You can't prove it was this male strong heart. Clint got your friends right at the end. Barrack and spent the past 10 years hating him. Oh, man.
May your bacon always burn.
That's a good one, too. So now we know, yes, Clint Van Zieks was a murderer, but someone was directing him and naming his victims. His extortioner, Lord Mail Strongheart! It was you.
Lord Strongheart, a moment ago, claimed that what the court had just heard could destroy justice in this country. But you weren't trying to protect justice at all. All you were trying to do was conceal the secret of your true nature and the countless lives you've sacrificed up till now.
It just doesn't make sense to me that the third victim, the Lord Chief Justice, was my brother's benefactor and a man of lofty principles. As I said, Clint had no possible reason to kill the man.
But you did, didn't you, Lord Strongheart, to eliminate the man who stood between you and the office you'd set your sights on. So you used your own hunting dog, Lord Clint Van Zieks, to take him down. It had to be done. London's unsavory shadows are deep, and the arm of the law fails to reach their depths. Crime must be cut off at the roots, but the Lord Chief Justice at the time couldn't see that. He was weak. Lofty principles, you say? Tantamount to cowardice, if you ask me. Which is why I took his place, in order to fight the crime he was allowing to spread like wildfire. By murdering the man. The Reaper, the Professor, the name makes no difference. As I've explained countless times already, it was all done in the furtherance of law and order in London.
Objection.
Are you going to legitimize the murder of my father now, too? Ah, Genshin Isogi, well, that was unfortunate. I'd fully intended to send him back to Japan as we'd agreed. I don't believe you. It was you, wasn't it? You killed him. No, it wasn't me who took your father's life. On the night following his mock execution, I went to Lowgate Cemetery at 3 in the morning with Jijoku.
Judge Jijoku?
There had to be a collaborator on the Japanese side to manage Isogi's treatment after his reparation. Jigoku had a fierce ambition. It made him easy to manipulate. 10 years ago, after he'd stood trial for the destruction of the witness stand, I had words with him. When I told him the position of Minister of Foreign Affairs could be his, he couldn't agree fast enough. Seishiro, you fool. As you know, Isogi escaped the prison in a closed casket and was subsequently interred. We intended to dig him out of his grave before he ran out of air. But sadly, all did not go to plan.
Arg.
There was an unexpected visitor to the cemetery with his own ideas about digging up graves. A man who witnessed what nobody was supposed to see.
Enoch Drebber.
Of course, I knew grave robbers frequented London cemeteries, but that grave on that particular night... Blast, if people find out the convict wasn't really executed, the scandal will rock the very foundations of the Empire. Then what do we do? Shoot him, Jigoku! Shoot Isogi at once! He can't live now that this has happened. He has to go. What are you talking about? We had an agreement. We promised him he could return to Japan. Everything has changed now. If the truth got out because of this, both of us would be finished. Forever. Come on, Jigoku. Do it. Pull the trigger.
Shoot! Bang. Wow. Jigoku, like, sucks, like, a lot.
Jigoku shot Isogi from the shadows. The grave robber was so close, the blood sprayed over his coat. He fled as fast as his legs would carry him. Then Jigoku and I put Isogi's body back in the grave from which he just emerged.
Whoa! Zany Poo, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Mew crew. How are you?
When I later learnt of the waxwork modeler's presence at the scene as well, I made her swear to 2 things. Never to remove the professor's mask, and never to speak of the events of that night.
You're new to stream. Listen, I would love to know if you or anybody else is new to stream right now. I would love to know a few things about you. Your favorite food, your favorite cute thing, and your pronouns. And if you wanted to know my pronouns... well, I'll tell ya.
With that, the secret is buried along with Isogi's corpse. So, now you know what really happened in Lowgate Cemetery that night.
Really? Are you like crazy? Are you like super duper sure? That's crazy. We don't see Mikotoma's reaction to this, but can you imagine? Yeah, wow. It's like, oh, we were all friends. Psych, you murdered for a job position. Ugh.
It was Jigoku, your Japanese acquaintance who killed Asogi in the end. He's always been down to murder. He claimed to be the man's friend, but when push came to shove, he pulled the trigger.
Well, you shoved him, so I mean... Just before Mr. Jigoku left the courtroom earlier, he said that the assassination exchange proposal was a demand from his British counterpart, not a request.
So you coerced him too, using what happened in the graveyard. By that time, Jigoku was the Minister of Foreign Affairs, negotiating international treaties with Britain. You can imagine what would have happened if it came to light he'd murdered a compatriot 10 years earlier. He would have lost everything. I merely reminded him of that. How do you sleep at night? These past 10 years, I've fought tirelessly with the darker recesses of London's criminal underworld, and I've used whatever means necessary to ensure that justice prevails and law and order reign supreme.
That couldn't be further from the truth. The fact is, you haven't fought crime at all.
How dare you! I've saved Clint Van Zeeks from dishonor in his death.
Objection!
Whilst behind the scenes, you systematically buried anyone who stood in your way. And then, you made my father take the blame. It was unavoidable. It was the only way to protect our justice system and public order. Let's not forget the others you had killed as well. Setting the defendant up as the Reaper to cover up the truth behind the murders and countless more. That's enough! You have any idea of the conniving that led to the acquittals of those wretched criminals? We have to fight fire with fire. Our courts can't function without a Reaper. Can't you see all I've done for this country? This has been my struggle.
Objection!
You've done nothing. It's Lord Van Zeeks here who worked tirelessly and justly in court, whilst enduring the disgrace of the Reaper name.
And Inspector Gregson, fraught with anguish for having sullied his hands through a desire to do the right thing. Not to mention Genshin Asogi, who risked his life going in pursuit of the truth you tried to hide. No, the darker recesses of London's underworld were largely filled by you!
You little... When will you get it through your thick skulls? That it was all for Queen and country? I'm tiring of that excuse.
Excuse me.
You've consistently twisted the truth for bargaining power, to make others do your bidding, nothing more.
People who willingly twist the truth to coerce others have no right to call themselves part of the judiciary. Woo! I strongly suggest that you don't ever talk of justice again. Ow! Sholmes was wrong again. The assassination wasn't really for the sake of both conspirators. He was just blackmailed. Roar! That's what an innocent guy would do. Huh? Oh.
Well, dear me, my good fellows, dear me. A well-deserved round of applause, I think, for a quite marvelous performance.
What are you talking about?
These delightfully grave expressions that beautifully pronounce Queen's English. Really, our friends from the Far East are quite the picture of industriousness. You fraud, keep your mockery.
Stop oh my god.
Please, don't misunderstand. It really is exactly as you've both said. What are you trying to say? I have occupied the darker recesses of London's underworld and, how do you put it, done nothing? I confess it's a little embarrassing to have been pointed out quite so starkly, but yes, I really have done nothing, which means I can be indicted for nothing, no?
What?
Yeah, I don't know about that. It's true, personally, I have committed no crime. I've merely been surrounded by fools who've acted very rashly indeed.
You can't get away with that. You've consistently preyed on people's weaknesses.
And what, threatened them? Are you sure it wasn't just bargaining?
He's a seal. Woof, woof, woof.
I'd like to address all the good lords, ladies, and gentlemen of the judiciary here present. You all know of these darker recesses in our great capital, and deep down, I believe you also know that to fight those who dwell there requires at least some of us to occupy the darkness ourselves.
Lunala, hello, good to see you.
So let me appeal to your good sense now. Consider the situation with me. If this catalog of horrifying revelations were to become common knowledge among the 6 million inhabitants of London, what might happen? Learn that the infamous murderer of royals and nobles was a respected member of the aristocracy himself. That evidence was fabricated in the scapegoat's trial amid secret negotiations with prosecutors to effect a jailbreak. That the Reaper of the Bailey was an organized group of assassins managed by a Scotland Yard inspector. And finally, that it was all masterminded by the Lord Chief Justice himself. If the general public of Britain knew the truth, all faith in the police and the prosecutor's office would be completely lost without doubt. Public order in the capital would completely break down. We'd be cast back to the lawless days of the last century. Precisely, as it was 100 years ago, when 1 in 10 of the population were criminals. Think of what we've accomplished since then. A public policing force, a comprehensive set of laws. And if we want to continue to protect this new era of law and order, I say again, we must at times occupy the darkness ourselves.
He's a Batman.
We have successfully identified and apprehended the man responsible for taking Inspector Gregson's life. That is all that was expected of this trial. All these other matters have been discussed. That will be eliminated from the minutes of these proceedings in the interest of preserving law and order. To protect Her Majesty the Queen, of course. Well, my lords, ladies, and gentlemen, what say you?
I gotta pull on the rabbit ears, right?
He has a point.
Things won't suck.
Isn't it our duty?
Can't deny the Reaper's over.
These go by so fast. It might just be. What do you mean strong? You can chant his name. How have you been? I've been pretty well. How have you been? Oh, are you hearing this?
This is the will of the British judiciary. For your rousing response, friends, I express my heartfelt gratitude. Therefore, in accordance with the overwhelming wishes of the court, the record shall be erased.
To respect the man's ability to turn a situation in his favor. Lord Strongheart really is a master of manipulation.
You've conclusively proven his guilt. And still he manages to evade justice. I just don't know what we can do.
Ryunosuke!
Looks like the trial really is going to come to an end now. I'm almost out of options, I think. There's really only one path left open to me. Can I use evidence? I don't know. I guess we'll use evidence. Yeah, we gotta pull the rabbit ears, right? I expect the hustle. Yes, as I only know too well. The only thing that carries any weight in court is hard evidence. Oh, there's music. But Mr. Naruhodo! What evidence is there that's gonna help at all? I have an idea. I don't know any weather thing. I don't know if it'll work, but there's no time for using this particular item. It's right now. Let's try it.
Take that!
Because maybe it'll, like, radio.
Oh my, yes, Mr. Sholmes. Okay, dope. Asked if you had that with you earlier.
We've exposed all of Lord Strongheart's wrongdoing now. I've no doubt that Mr. Sholmes has already deduced exactly how the truth would unfurl. So I think it must be time for the great detective to take center stage, don't you?
Yes, absolutely. Let's take the hair by the ears then and heave.
All right, here goes. Heave! Ow, 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 ow. My dear fellows, must I remind you every time a gentle tug will suffice.
Mr. Sholmes!
Mr. Sholmes, you're looking in quite the wrong direction, Mr. Naruhodo, because I'm over here.
Ah! Mr. Naruhodo, he's...
What? What do you mean?
It's Mr. Sholmes!
Mr. Sholmes did not invent holograms in the late 1800s. Stop it. Come on.
I wasn't expecting you back, Sholmes.
Delighted to be here again, Lord Strongheart.
What is the meaning of this? Bailiff, seize him! Put that man in irons. This is a closed court. You've been warned once already, man.
What the? You can't get out of him, me lord. Stop! He's showing off. I'm afraid your efforts are wasted. You see, the great detective you see before you is composed entirely of light and shadow, an image, if you will. We barely have holograms now. Mr. Naruhodo, I must congratulate you on your fine deductions. Mr. Sholmes, what on earth is... Are you familiar, I wonder, with the invention known as the telephone? Well, yes, I heard that some public telephones have been installed recently in Tokyo.
The sound of the speaker's voice is converted to an electrical signal and transmitted instantly to another place.
Right, sounds are transmitted, so... Could not images keep them company, I mused. Iris and I did some modest experimentation to develop such a device specifically for this very day.
Modest experimentation, Mr. Sholmes. What a modest description.
And somewhat incidentally, I thought we might just as well transmit an entire scene. Somewhat incidentally, Mr. Sholmes, now you're just being immodest.
Do you mean to say you're not actually here, Sholmes?
I knew my trusty partner would have no trouble grasping the concept. Except he's grasping the stand to steady himself after your shock arrival.
Poor father, I would have hoped he might have been forewarned being the great detective's great partner.
Leave my courtroom at once. Get out, or I swear to you.
Dear me, you, on the other hand, Lord Strongheart, appear to have a very poor grasp of the situation. Allow me to reiterate, I am not here, which would, I hope, lead naturally to one asking,
where exactly are you?
The very question I was awaiting. I am at present enjoying the air in a rather splendid garden. A garden? Not just any garden, you understand. A garden at Buckingham Palace.
What? You can't be. Buckingham Palace?
What's Buckingham Palace, Mr. Sato? I've never heard of it.
You ever read the news, Mr. Naruhodo?
Mr. Sholmes, is Iris with you there? Ah, well now. Iris is currently enjoying some tea. With Her Majesty. Her Majesty? Not just any Her Majesty, you understand. Her Majesty, the Queen of the British Empire. What? What? What on earth is all this about? What's all this in?
Buckingham Palace is Her Majesty the Queen's residence in London, Mr. Naruhodo. You idiot. You've been here a year.
Order in the court. I demand immediate silence. Her Majesty the Queen, you can't be. I mean, no. This is some sort of unforgivably distasteful trickery by a third-rate detective, that's all.
Unforgivably distasteful trickery. What an apt description. A closed court session attended by elite members of the judiciary is a rare event. I presumed that Her Majesty would be a little more than a little curious about the proceedings. So I decided to show her everything from start to finish. Huh? You showed her? Indeed. By dint of the Herlock Sholmes remote cinematograph. This man invented both television and holograms to take Strongheart down. Absurd.
You're meddling. This is some kind of nightmare.
Well, just as I appear to be standing before you, regaling you with talk of my latest invention, no doubt you've inferred that the reverse is also true.
You don't mean...
Her Majesty has seen and heard every moment of the proceedings. I assume there would be no objection, after all. Every trial in this country is conducted under the auspices of Her Majesty, as you know.
You...
I confess I am quite impatient to hear Her Majesty's opinion about the unforgivably distasteful trickery in which you've engaged over the past 10 years.
No, I was merely...
Oh, it's so sad I kept your wedding, Vicky, and Vicky, stop. Had so much to talk about.
Iris, there you are.
I'm a hologram. In fact, I have a little message here from Her Majesty.
A message?
Well then, if everyone is sitting comfortably, ahem. Forthwith and with immediate effect, all authority previously afforded to male Strongheart is hereby revoked for evermore. Furthermore, he will be prosecuted for crimes against his country in a public trial by jury in the coming days.
So, it seems that Her Majesty doesn't believe we need to fight fire with fire. Justice in this country needn't be administered from the shadows at all.
Male Strongheart,
You're a dummy. The darkness you fostered to conceal your despicable actions these last 10 years is a thing of the past now. After today, your brand of law and order has no future, because no longer are you the Lord Chief Justice. In the eyes of the law and Your Majesty the Queen, you are nothing but a criminal! Get her a holographic box to stand on.
Adjourned! Adjourned!
Adjourned!
Delete, delete, delete.
God is adjourned! He's got crazy eyes. Oh, not his unicorn. Oh. You're dead. A gift sub! 8 star, thank you. No! Oh, they're gonna break. Yeah! Too much fire! For some reason. What do you mean? Oh, is it gonna just kill him? Oh, okay. Oh! You get him! Murder him! No, okay. This is so extra! Stop! This is extra even for Ace Attorney standards. Oh. Come on.
Lord Clint Van Zeeks left a will in which he confessed to everything. Those words came out of Asogi's mouth that deranged me completely. I knew I must do everything and anything in my power to contain the situation. But I couldn't find the damned document. I searched his cell, but it wasn't there. Which precipitated the jailbreak plot, I assume.
What do you mean?
The need to obtain that will was all-consuming. I was sure that if I facilitated Asogi's escape, he would emerge with the will somewhere on his person. But despite searching his limp body in the cemetery that night, it still eluded me.
Oh, excuse me.
It never even crossed my mind that it was concealed in the sword's hilt.
They're supposed to be solid. I guess. Maybe not. This game cranked everything up to 11.
What pains me now is that my brother left this world without a word to me.
I'm sorry, Lord Van Zeeks. In point of fact, I think perhaps that isn't the case. Sorry?
How can that be?
There's more to this last will and testament. We didn't read it because we wanted to be dramatic.
What? Clint, you are my favorite brother. Wait. Barak, you are my favorite brother. As I confront the prospect of my demise, I feel bitter regret for my younger brother. Barak, you have always looked up to me, and now you follow in my footsteps to become a prosecutor. It's my fervent wish that my unspeakable deeds should not hinder your advancement. I ask not for understanding, for none could understand my depravity. I ask only for forgiveness.
Asogi is a fine detective and a hunter worthy of respect. He has agreed to honor my final 2 wishes. The first is that this document survives. The second, I cannot commit to paper. I have confessed my sins to my wife. May she find resolution in my death. With my eternal gratitude to my Japanese friend, I rest my quill. Clint Van Zeeks.
Clint.
He looks like sort of normal now. I don't know how to describe it. Male Strongheart, you colluded with Seishiro Jigoku in a criminal plot so immense it spanned the oceans. And you cold-heartedly murdered all those who knew the truth about what happened 10 years ago. But why did you set about that now, a whole decade later?
To ascend to the very peak. These last 10 years made me realize being the Lord Chief Justice wasn't enough. Short of becoming Her Majesty's Attorney General, I could have no real power to effect the changes needed in this country. And for that promotion, I needed to ensure no remnants of the past remained. How could you? I like everything to run smoothly in the exact manner that I prescribe, like a well-oiled machine. And I was just a step away. And for your ambition to succeed, Did you even bother to count the number of brilliant people you had killed?
Ah, Mr. Reaper, are you not forgetting something? Such as? You've very much adopted your usual prosecutor-like demeanor in the proceedings now. But the reality of the situation is that you are the defendant in this trial. However, the presiding judge would appear to have fallen from the bench, as it were. May I suggest, therefore, that we entrust the final education to an old friend?
My lord.
I love him.
As a member of the judiciary, I have been following the proceedings from the gallery. And I must say, I shan't ever forget the extraordinary battle between good and evil that I witnessed here today.
Yeah! Hell yeah! Why is this making me happy?
The darkness that has blighted justice in our land these past 10 years has at last been dispelled. Thanks in no small part to the efforts of the bright young star from the east, Defendant Counsel Naruhodo.
Yes, my lord.
On behalf of everyone here present in the Old Bailey, I give you my heartfelt thanks.
You're too kind, my lord. The first time I faced you in court just under a year ago now, I had the faintest of intimidations. Intimations that if British justice, so warped and twisted over its long history, was finally to no change, this might just be the man to do it. What? But at the time, I wouldn't allow myself to acknowledge the possibility. I couldn't overcome my hatred of the Japanese after the circumstances of my brother's death. Mr. Naruhodo, allow me to apologize for countless discourtesies on my part. You are a lawyer of boundless talent.
Oh, Lord Van Zeeks! When I first arrived in Great Britain, I was literally a nobody, certainly not a lawyer. The truth is, my fortunes have entirely been made by the miraculous people I've met. My best friend, we're just friends, Kazuma Asogi, who led me here to Britain in the first place. My loyal and ever-patient judicial assistant, Miss Sato, who helped me to study to become a lawyer. The brilliant Lord Van Zeeks, who never failed to challenge his Nipponese arrival. And not to mention, the exceptional master of logic and reasoning, who showed me the true art of deduction, Mr. Sholmes.
Saving the best for last, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, what a relief. He was worried he wasn't gonna get mentioned.
I'm well aware that without all these people's help and support, I wouldn't be where I am today. The truth is a guiding light that always leads to happiness. I've lived by that principle for a long time now, but actually, it's not true. The truth can also cause great pain, sometimes even leave people on the brink of despair.
And for that reason, there are those who feel the need to hide the truth, who do it instinctively even.
But as soon as we allow our eyes to settle on something other than the truth, the darkness takes hold. And from there it grows until eventually it makes us blind to the guiding light of the truth altogether. That's why it's my belief that we must all resolve never to avert our eyes from what is just and true. Schmack. His lips are so wiggly when he does that. So that we can continue to walk the straight and narrow path ahead. I'm just too good. I would never accept a bribe or do a crime. It's me, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. The goodest boy.
Well, I must excuse myself now. But before I go, Mr. Naruhodo, let me compliment you on your grand opus. What? Without your beautifully composed case against Lord Strongheart, Her Majesty would have been unable to act. Thanks to you and your fellows, the haunting undertones corrupting Britain's justice system have been silenced.
Thank you very much.
So, until our paths cross again somewhere, I'll see him at home.
Well then, it appears that this long trial has finally come to an end. Took 2 whole parts of the game, my god.
My apologies for any anxiety caused, my lord.
I'm quite sure we shall meet again here in the courtroom before long, Prosecutor Baron Van Zeeks. In conclusion of these proceedings, I hereby declare the defendant, Baron Van Zeeks,
Guilty!
And we're all just like, what?
Yay! Woo, woo, woo! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where are they getting shot from? Ever played
Hammer for? That sounds like a D's Nuts joke. Is that a D's Nuts joke? So I was like, what about me? What's crazy to me is that the last two defendants who got away from Van Zeeks then died, probably because Strongheart was cleaning up his underlings. So Van Zeeks got unlucky with those ones. Yeah, because, like, it was the... I forgot the guy's name, the rich guy from the third case of the first game. No. Just, okay. What's hammer? What's hammer for? What is it for?
That is all court is adjourned.
Nails! It really is all over. Did I sacrifice too much? What did you sacrifice?
Mr. Naruhodo!
Ugh.
I really must congratulate you. It was truly a truly splendid performance! Honestly, I couldn't be happier for you.
Oh, thank you very much. You think there's gonna be more games after this? Probably not. I really couldn't have done it without you at my side, though, at all, Mr. Sato.
Oh! Your kind words mean so much to me.
It really was a very splendid show, that, Naruhodo. I'd have thought you'd be smiling from ear to ear, but you look rather glum.
Well, of course I'm delighted about the verdict. But in exposing the truth, I'm afraid I've caused my client a great deal of pain. I'm really not sure that's what a lawyer ought to be doing. Well, I mean, he'd be in more pain in jail, but...
Oh, well, in that case. Quite sure that when you see Lord Van Zeek's smiling face, everything will seem much better.
Mr. Sato, everything seems worse. His face is like thunder.
Oh dear, I really shouldn't have...
Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes?
Almost a year it's been now since I first encountered you here in this very courthouse. For you to have risen to the level of excellence you demonstrated today, well, it's quite remarkable.
But I exposed the most unpalatable truth you could ever have imagined in court today. I feel as though I've robbed you of something you held so dear.
What was it he said? To fight those who dwell in the darkness requires at least some level of us to occupy the darkness as well. But that was just the feeble excuse of a coward. Only those with a steadfast eye for the truth have what it takes to fight the dark forces of crime. You made fine work of establishing that fact in court today.
Too far over. Like not... There we go. Hold on. Very end. Let's readjust my face. Oh! Well, thank you.
What magnanimous words. I'm quite sure that Kazuma-sama would have a smile on his face at this very moment if he were here.
Kazuma, he isn't dead, you know. Mr. Sato. There's another face like thunder here.
Oh my, he really was just here, and he really was here.
Lord Van Zeeks, allow me to congratulate you on your acquittal.
Maybe he apologized.
Congratulate me or curse me, you failed to bring down the Reaper.
He didn't.
I owe you an apology. No, it is I who should apologize, your father, Genshin. If I had been stronger, then perhaps I made an unforgivable error in judgment. I can offer no excuse. And I can offer no forgiveness. That said, I suppose you fought for justice and the truth. For that, at least, I can't withhold respect. Your words mean more to me than you could know. I will hold them dear.
Kazuma-sama.
I must say, there's one thing that's still bothering me.
What's that?
The will that Lord Clint Van Zeeks wrote before his duel with my father.
I like he's just chilling there. He's like, alright, hurry up.
Isagi is a fine detective and a hunter worthy of respect. He has agreed to honor my final two wishes. The first is that this document survives. The second, I cannot commit to paper. I have confessed my sins to my wife. May she find resolution in my death. My eternal gratitude to my Japanese friend. I rest my quill. Clint Van Zeeks.
What could the second of his final wishes have been?
That your father agreed to honor, you mean?
Who's this? I think perhaps... Ah! I might be able to shed some light on that.
What? Father!
We know who he is. It was 10 years ago, you know, the day before the execution was scheduled. I went to the prison to say my farewells to Genshin. Why aren't you putting up more of a fight, Genshin? If you'd only agree to it, Seishiro and I would gladly petition the government. We've been through this already. You don't need to worry about me. Anyway, Eugene, I have a favor to ask of you, something of great importance. You're one of my greatest friends, Genshin. Whatever it is, consider it done. I'm going to tell you an address. I need you to go there at once, in secret, and telling no one. You'd find the Lady of the Gentry in hiding there. The Lady of the Gentry? She's not in a good way, and she's with Oh! The birth is imminent. As a medical man, I'd like you to attend to her. Please, you're her only hope. By any chance, is the child yours, Genshin? Don't be daft. It's a favor that was asked of me by a man I knew, as his dying wish. My goodness. I swore to— Wait a minute! I swore to the man that I would help, that I would do whatever I could for his wife and his unborn child. But if something should happen to me, I need to ask you that same favor. They're the only person I know that I can truly rely on. What did you say, if something should happen to you? Tomorrow night you're gonna be— You never know, though, do you, what life will bring? Alright then, tell me the address. I'll head there at once with Seishiro. No, not with him. Pardon? It's a favor I'm asking of you, and only you, Eugene. Right, I see. Very well then. I'll take me and this mustache and we'll go. The very night I caught a train from Paddington to Dartmoor in Devon. Found the old house. In the middle of nowhere it was. An old hunting hound lay asleep in the grounds. The poor woman was on the floor in the back of a darkened room. She was in mortal danger. I broke her waters to precipitate the labor before she weakened further, but it was a torturous birth. I did everything humanly possible for her and her child. Sure didn't know life would bring that bullet to his... It's a baby, and I bet it's a girl. In the end, I was lucky enough to welcome a new life into the world, but tragically, my efforts to save the mother's life were in vain. I held the healthy newborn girl in my arms and wept for longer than I care to remember. Eventually, in something of a daze, I looked around the room. There was precious little in it, but an old travel trunk caught my eye. It had clearly been well looked after over the years, made of top-quality leather and fine stitching. But it was when I saw the emblem on the side of it that everything dropped into place. Another reminder that Mikotoba's wife died giving birth to Susato. Oh, I did forget that. B for Baskerville.
Baskerville?
You mean the woman was the wife of Lord Clint Van Zeeks? That's right. The newborn was his daughter. But, that makes no sense. Why on earth wouldn't Clint have entrusted the child to my care in that case? He was completely unaware that he even had a daughter.
I suppose he didn't really have any choice.
What?
Well, your brother said that he'd confessed everything to his wife. So she must have been beside herself with worry for her child. If the true identity of the professor were ever to be made public, the girl would be forever branded as the daughter of the infamous mass murderer.
Ah. So the only solution was to distance the young girl from the Van Zeeks family as much as possible. I don't believe it. I imagine that in his final hour, Lord Clint Van Zeeks made the obvious choice. He would have thought to himself, this Japanese man here is someone I can trust. I honored my promise to Genshin, of course. However, only a month later I was summoned back to Japan. Without disclosing the parentage of the child, I couldn't obtain permission to take her with me.
Oh, how awful.
Why are they all dumb? Why are they all silly? I was completely... Obviously... Who's a 10-year-old? Who's 10? Well, who's 10? Who do we know that's 10, chat? It's completely at a loss at the day I had to ask my great friend. I asked him if he would be a father to her. That being Mr. Sholmes... Okay, he's not an idiot. Yes. He took one look into my eyes and agreed to it on the spot.
Mr. Sholmes, he has a heart of gold.
Really, all that can be said is that I did for the child was to give her a name.
Oh?
When I'd come to Britain, I was trying to escape from the grief of losing my darling wife. It was her name that I gave the little girl.
Your wife's name, Professor Mikitoba? In other words...
The name of my mother. Ayame Mikitoba. Oh!
That's right, Ayame. Or in English, Iris.
Oh, okay, sure. Iris.
I had no idea.
Ouch!
Mr. Naruhodo, what's wrong?
Ow. This little thing just pinched me on the behind through my trouser pocket hard. Ah, my dear fellows, can you hear me? Mr. Sholmes, is that you? Ding dong. Ouch! Yes, yes, we can hear you.
You see what aggressive tugging can do? Let that be a lesson to you.
Mr. Sholmes, we weren't able to thank you properly before, but you were simply marvelous.
Your checkmate move.
Indeed it was, wasn't it? I surpassed myself, I feel. It had become apparent to me that the stop that Lord Chief Injustice would require such means.
Wait, that to stop the Lord Chief Injustice would require such measures.
Right Sassy! Oh, Iris!
Wow! Erratically insane with the rain! Oh! Thank you, Raiders! Thank you, Raiders! How was... Oh, it didn't tell me what game... Man, is Cloudbot not working? Right at the end of stream, I discovered Cloudbot. What were you playing? What was going on? Thank you so much. Stardew! I love Stardew. Are you excited for the Chocolatier, the new one?
Oh, I'm so pleased. What a wonderful outcome.
Her Majesty Queen Feke said she thought my special blend was delicious. Oh, shoot. Oh, I'm sure she did. Ha 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 ha. After all, no one brews a more delicious tea than you do, Iris. Ha 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 ha. The 8-player update? Forget about it. Ooh, baby. Let's have a party to celebrate. And Mr. Reaper, you simply must come too. What?
I'm busy. I'm afraid I couldn't.
Reaper the Bailey flustered by a 10-year-old girl again.
Oh, really? Oh, pa.
Did a short stream just for my 12-hour nap. Hell yeah, take a nap, baby. Hell yeah.
But I give you my word that I shall present myself at your residence in the near future to express my gratitude.
Oh, how lovely.
You promised now. I won't let you forget. Bye for now, then. All right, Iris. Thank you for all your help earlier. Oh, it was nothing. Just come back home, son. Her being shy is so cute. I love it.
Ding dong.
Ouch. One final pinch goodbye, was it?
Oh my god. Well, I thought I ought to be leaving. Lord Van Zeeks, would you care to accompany me?
Cheeky Art Streams, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Mew crew. How are you?
Certainly. Mr. Naruhodo, allow me once again to express my deep gratitude to you. I believe you saved my life.
Hell yeah, Lila.
Wait, Lord Van Zeeks.
What the hell? What do you want?
Yes?
What are you intending to do now?
Well, clearly, I shall have to resign from the prosecutor's office.
Oh, no.
I intend to publicize the full truth about the professor case. Once that's done, the Van Zeeks family will be ostracized completely from London society.
Surely not.
London sounds bad.
So as soon as I am free from my employment, I shall leave the capital.
Oh, I see.
Don't be a fool.
Okay.
Are those the actions of a man once feared as the mighty Reaper of the Bailey? I beg your pardon. For the past 10 years, you've endured that pseudonym and been cast as one of the dark forces yourself. Now that you've finally been freed from that disrepute, your battle is just beginning, surely. Well, I've certainly never expected to hear those words from your lips. I waited a very long time to come to London. Now I'm properly here. I intend to learn all I can. Anyway, goodbye for now, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Why'd you have to say it like that?
Kazuma Sogi.
Seems as though he's already matured suddenly. He's really matured.
He's not the only one who's matured, Mr. Naruhodo. Well, I think we should make our way back to Baker Street. Must help Iris with tonight's dinner.
We must. change a bit, but it's expensive. Yeah, I've never been. Maybe one day. I'm sure Brexit was a big shakeup that the worst people made happen, and now everybody has to pay for it. Is my understanding of Brexit, anyway. It was then that I came to an important decision about my future. I gotta go get some milk. Where'd that $20 go? That's expensive. I'm home. Oh! Yay! It's Gina!
About time you got here, we've been waiting for ages, Odo.
What are you doing with that colorful piece of history?
It's a party, isn't it? We're gonna go off with a bang. I mean, fireworks, ideally. But when you ain't got fire, smoke's the next best thing, ain't it?
There's a girl on Fresno Street who could help you with that, I think.
Right. I'll remember that.
You don't have to reload that thing every time I speak. You really must hear this. It's quite the extraordinary thing. I assure you, it will defy your expectations. Take down every detail now, Mikitoba. Wow, the world-famous great detective regaling his partner with the tale of his adventure, a sight to behold. Would you care to hazard a guess? Where do you suppose the fiendish runaway had concealed himself? Would you believe? Inside the trunk I found abandoned in his cabin. I would believe it, yes. I say, Mikitoba, I detect not a hint of surprise. I wonder why that is. Maybe because I was there at the scene as well, Sholmes. What? You were? Then why the deuce didn't you say so before? I would have killed for a Greatest Attorney Investigations game. Oh, man. I want more Gina. Listen, here's the next mainline Ace Attorney game. It is some mystery. This game spanned a mystery of 10 years. What if the next mainline had a whole thread that comes back to these characters in this time frame? You know what I mean? How dope would that be? I think that would be dope as hell. You know what I mean? But I digress. Just write fan fiction about it. She talks like my grandma. I love her. Do you like my really bad, like, Cockney accent? Not quite the side I was expecting to behold, but still. It's hard not to feel privileged to see it. Hello, Mr. Sholmes, Press Mikitoba. I'm finally back from the Bailey. And not a moment too soon. A feast prepared by Iris and Miss Sasato awaits. I must say, I haven't seen Sasato looking so happy in a very long time.
Oh, righto, there you are. Dinner is on the table, everyone. Please do come take a seat. Time to fill my boots.
What? Oh, I'm sure there's loads of Ace Attorney. I read it one time a long time ago. I read it was Ace Attorney versus Santa fanfiction. It was very funny.
Goodness, is that really true, Gina? Yep, I'm losing me clubber and going back to what I know best. It's a diver's life for me.
You're really leaving the police force, but why, Jenna?
Well, the boss ain't around no more, so...
Oh.
And anyway, no matter how hard I try, the Reaper ain't never gonna accept a diver turned dick, is he?
What? A what? A what? A what? A what? A what? A what? I'm sorry, a what? A what? Huh? Who? Like a detective. Like Dick Gumshoe. Well, people can change it now. Ah, yes, that reminds me. I rather thoughtfully offered to relieve the bailiff of this now defunct piece of evidence. Eh? It's the inspector's pocket watch, and the crown has been reattached. That watch was his pride and joy, a symbol of his great achievements in Scotland Yard. For 10 years without fail, it measured every second of the man's remarkable career. But now it's stopped. Someone needs to keep the memory of Inspector Gregson's career alive by taking on the great responsibility of winding that watch every single day again.
Yes, someone with an equally fierce detective spirit.
It's gotta be. Wait. Oh my god.
It's gotta be me. There ain't no one else.
Santa's like, but what?
Right. I mean, after all, the boss was... Well, he was my boss.
Yes, Jenny, yes I was.
Oh yeah, and I made you a promise and all, didn't I, Iris? That I'd become a proper detective one day and track down your old man.
Oh.
Alright then, it's decided. I'll do it. And I'll swear. I'll find your dad and bring him to this kicking and screaming.
I'm not entirely sure that would be appropriate. Yes, I think, Gina, it might be best to, well, I think I'd like you to forget that promise, Jenny. Eh? Iris? Well, obviously I've always wondered about how my real daddy is. Of course I have. I wanted to know where I've come from. I thought it might tell me something about myself. But I've caused a lot of trouble trying to find out for so many people. Hurley, Rodell, Professor Mickey.
Oh, no, not at all, my dear. Really, you owe no apology to anyone.
Well, anyway, I've decided to give up on it because I finally realized my daddy is the greatest in the world. I don't think it matters what his name is or where he's from. Don't you agree? Hurley. With every word, Iris. Thank you, Hurley. Thank you. Daddy. The people theorize that Iris knows at this point. I think Mikatoba.
Yes, Sholmes. I think that I ought to express my gratitude to you. Oh.
For 6 years, you and I solved many a mystery together. And during that time, I remember countless expressions of gratitude for our good services. But a moment ago, I heard the most pleasing expression of gratitude of them all. And I should never have experienced it were it not for you.
You old softy, Sholmes. But I must confess, it's a weight off my mind to hear you say it.
Whoa! Well then, I think this calls for a lengthy violin recital, wouldn't you say? Oh, well, the food got cold. That's the only problem. Maybe next week, Harley? It takes a week to put the food. Are you sure a week is long enough, Iris? Ha 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 ha! Even amidst the most troubling of cases, even reeling from the most shocking of revelations, returning in the evening to this suite of rooms, there's always warmth and happiness to be had. The home of the world's greatest detective, and my home too, with my greatest family. This attic room has been my home and office for almost a year now. Certainly had some unforgettable experiences whilst I've lived here. But I think now the time has come. You going home? Time to bid this place farewell. Naruhodo.
Naruhodo!
Oh, Professor, you didn't knock. What if I was changing?
Are you alone? I didn't hear any sound from Sasato's room.
Goodbye, Breeze! Thank you so much! Oh my goodness. Sasato-san went out after dinner. She took a carriage. Something about an important matter she needed to take care of.
Ah, I see. Wanted to thank you for what you did earlier.
Oh?
With Iris, I mean. The subject of her father came up.
Lord Clint Van Zeeks. We didn't forget.
Made my mind many years ago never to tell her who her real father was. What was agreed with Genshin, after all.
Lord Clint Van Zeeks' final wishes before he died, you mean?
Yes, I've had to take some rather drastic steps at times to protect that secret, you know. Calling Sasato back to Japan 6 months ago, for example.
Oh my god, that's why?
When I read Saseki-san's report about his final days in London, my heart nearly stopped. He'd stumbled across the crux of that terrible case. The dog's collar. The description of the Baskerville insignia left me in no doubt.
Baskerville.
If you decided to investigate that insignia, sooner or later you'd have made the connection to the Van Zeeks. To make matters worse, Sasato knew of the unpublished story as well. A story that Iris had written based on my notes from the time.
Ah, yes, the Hounds of the Baskervilles.
Exactly. It was a work of fiction, but based on the grim reality of a huge beast of a dog being used as a murder weapon. The dog with the Baskerville family emblem around its neck. Armed with those two clues, I feared you and Sasato might arrive at the truth. So I invented that story about having collapsed to justify her leaving London and returning to Japan at once. On the aid of halting any investigation you and she might have been contemplating.
I see. Something I've never understood is why Sasato-san came across that manuscript in Japan, though. You know, the Iris is the Hound of the Baskerville story, I mean.
Sholmes sent it to me. That was before Sasato left Japan. He was very troubled about what should be done about it, you see.
I'd read it and carelessly left it on my desk, which is where Sasato came across it, of course.
Ah,
It was the only case Sholmes and I ever pursued that I didn't record in meticulous detail. I was stunned when I discovered that young Iris had pieced together so much of it from my paltry notes. Sholmes and I discussed the matter and decided that we couldn't allow the story's publication. At that point, I had returned the manuscript by post to Sholmes for safekeeping.
so you did it all to stop Iris from finding out the truth about her father.
That's right, because Sholmes had told me how astute she'd become. However, having witnessed events in court today, I must say my opinion was somewhat shifted.
Oh?
I think at some point in the future, the time will come for Iris to know the truth. And when it does, well, I believe it will be for the best.
I think so too. Actually, Professor, I wanted to talk to you about something too.
Judging from that expression, I'd say you've come to a decision, have you?
Yes, I have. Ah! I will be returning with you to Japan.
Are you quite sure?
I'm really only here as a substitute for Kazuma. But he's here in Britain now, as originally intended. Locum student Naruhodo doesn't really have a right to stay, I think.
I see.
Looking back now, when I first arrived here in February... my becoming a lawyer just seemed to be the way things turned out. With Kazuma, Sasato-san, and Mr. Sholmes all gently pushing me in that direction. I spent the best part of a year immersed in this world, but always aware of the seed of doubt inside me. Until today. Standing in that courtroom earlier, all doubts vanished from my mind. Woo! Yeah, zoom in, baby. I was totally focused. I was sure of my belief in my client, and I was sure I could see the trial through. And at the end of it, I finally realized no one else chose this path for me. I chose it myself. Wee, 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 wee.
Path of a defense lawyer, huh?
Yes, that's what I am now. That's what I'll be going back with you to Japan as. And that's the path I'll be following for the rest of my life.
Well, it sounds like you've made quite a resolution there.
Yeah, I have.
Very well, then. I must say, it's extremely welcome news. Shall make arrangements for you to return first thing tomorrow, but I don't imagine we'll depart for a few days.
Not with this symposium having been cancelled now. Such a shame.
Never mind. I'm sure there'll be other opportunities in the future. Well, then, I'll bid you good night.
Oh, hello. Nobody knocks. Sasato-san. I just wanted to let you know I'm back. Did you, hear what your father and I were discussing? I'm sorry I did, yes. I couldn't help but... Oh, how much did you hear? Well, like all of it. The part about Iris's real father, I think. In other words, from the beginning. So you've made up your mind. You'll return to Japan and continue working as a defense lawyer. Ah, yes, I'm sorry. I really should have consulted you about it. I did want to earlier this evening, actually, but you'd already gone out.
Suddenly ditches English course at uni.
Oh no, that's quite alright. I already knew that's what you decided, Naruhodo-san. You did? You're extremely predictable. And dumb. And I hate you. Sasato-san. Ah! Yes? I suppose this means it will have to be farewell soon. I suppose. You'll be a great help to Kazuma going forward. I mean, I know he's a brilliant lawyer, but he's new to the British courtroom. He'll certainly benefit greatly from having a brilliant judicial assistant at his side. I'll do my very best! Lovey Bunny, hello, welcome, welcome. We're at the very, very end of this game. I wish I could say it, but I just can't. I can't ask her to come with me, after all. She was always supposed to be coming to Britain as Kazuma's assistant. It's growing late. We should both try to get some sleep. I'm sure you must be exhausted after today. Oh, yes, you're right. Before I retire, let me just say one more time. You really were quite splendid in court today.
And if you ask me, anyone who thinks of you as a substitute or a locum should be ashamed of themselves. Sato-san. Thank you. Whee! Hell yeah! I can't believe this day has finally come. You're really living that runner. I'm afraid so, Iris. Thank you so much for everything. I don't know what I'll do without your wonderful cooking and delicious tea. Oh, I wish you weren't going. But you'll have to come back and visit, say you will. Of course, I promise.
Well, it was a very brief reunion, but it was a pleasure to pursue a case with you again after so long.
Why doesn't he have beeps?
For a while, at least, it felt like old times.
Yes, I suppose on reflection, there's something that to be said up for it. Having a little fun once in a while. I'll just go and say goodbye to the professor as well, I think. Alright, Iris, you do that. Honk! There's a goose? Is there a goose pilot in that thing?
Susato-san.
Okay. Is this what we're doing? Okay. Turning the volume up.
I've just checked, Naruhodo-san.
Stop
Your
it.
luggage is already on
Get
board.
some help.
Such a beautiful morning. Perfect for embarking on a journey, isn't it?
Her voice actress is very strange to me.
Before I set off, I'd just like to say how thankful I am for everything you've done for me. And give my warmest regards to Kazuma, please.
Actually, I think you ought to give him your regards in person, don't you?
Sorry?
Ryunosuke.
Kazuma! What are you doing here?
This is so weird voiced. I mean, this is the very, very end of the game, so they did a little voice acting. They have the cutscenes that has voice acting, but this is what Kazuma sounds like.
Do you really think I'd miss my best friend's departure?
Not that off, I guess.
Thanks. To be honest, I'd been looking forward to our wild time tearing up the streets of Her Majesty's capital, but,
Ryunosuke is also not, none of these are very credible voice actors. It's all very strange.
Well, we'll have to save that for another time. Personally, I'm looking forward to facing you in court again.
Me too. But, we're both defense lawyers, so,
I'm going to become a prosecutor. I'll stay in Lord Van Zeek's tutelage for the time being, but before long, I intend to be just as formidable as the Reaper himself.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, they just sound like British people that are attempting to do foreign accents. It's very interesting. It's an interesting choice.
Actually, Ryunosuke,
Ugh.
I have a favor to ask.
Why are they saying it like that?
Name it.
I'd like you to take care of this for me for a while.
Karuma? Why?
Because I've seen it now. I've seen what's inside me, the demon that reared its ugly head that day. It was only for the briefest of moments. The last time I came face to face with that inspector.
I would give him a voice line, please.
But it was unmistakable.
They won't. They're
I wanted
cowards.
to kill him.
I've
always known there are demons that live inside people. And now I know there is one in me. The fact that it very nearly consumed me is something I'll carry with me until the end of my days. While I devote my life to fighting those whose demons have got the better of them. As a prosecutor.
Sure. That sounds
So-
great, bud.
That's what you've resolved to do, is it?
I get it.
Until I'm ready to face the demon within me. To slay it once and for all.
Kill it.
I leave this in your care.
He is very dramatic.
If you'll take it.
Yeah, I love a
course I
sword. I'll take a sword.
I'll
Whatever,
keep it by
bud.
my side.
I'll put like
always.
snacks in the hilt.
Until we meet again, then. You have your path to follow, and I have mine.
Naruhodo-san? The path you're going to follow from now on, I wonder if I might follow it at your side, and unless I'd be a burden.
Great. What?
I mean, I would very much like you to come with me. But
No reason.
aren't you...
You're so predictable, Ryunosuke.
I am?
Honestly,
Snackies
you never
in the
change
great
at
sword.
all.
What if they're great
But
snacks?
that's
You
what
don't
I
know.
like about you.
You mean you knew about this?
You mean you knew?
It was the evening after Lord Van Zeek's trial came to an end. She came to see me at the prosecutor's office.
Really? Oh, when I had that conversation with Professor Mikotoba.
Mikotaba? Mikotaba? I don't know about that. That's a reveal.
So, you'd go with Ryunosuke back to Japan?
Yes, I know it's unfair of me to follow my own interests like this.
Coming here especially to tell me. You're a stickler for etiquette, aren't you?
I love, like, I get that it's originally a 3DS game and everything, but like, it kills me when they like turn around, but their feet don't. They just like rotate on the spot.
Well, what are his feelings?
Yeah, he has his
We've
other
never
sword.
discussed it, of course,
a
and
different
Naruhodo-san has made no such suggestion.
That sword doesn't have any
I worry
emotional
that perhaps
meaning.
I'd be a burden to him.
He's just as much of a stickler for etiquette as you are. He'd never say anything before he was asked. But I'd feel happy knowing you were with him. Look out for him on my behalf, will you?
Of
Okay,
course.
but not because you said so.
Susato-san.
What do you think, Naruhodo-san?
With you by my side, no trial would seem too daunting. So if you're willing, I'd be honored if you'd come with me. Together we can take on the world.
I'm terribly incompetent, but if you'll have me, I'd be delighted.
Where is that coming from? What do you mean?
Oh, no, not at all. If anyone's terribly incompetent, it's me.
What are you saying?
Ah! What's wrong?
Your luggage, Susato-san. There's no time. The ship's going to set sail any minute now.
It's all right. There's no need to worry. As it happens, my luggage is already on board too.
I knew you would say yes. You're predictable. I said that before.
Your fine judicial assistant has everything in hand as always, I see.
Goose honk!
Bruno, your ship's about to leave.
Time to go then. Look after yourself, Ryunosuke.
Kazuma, draw your sword.
I'm gonna kill you. Murdering you. Is it Animu? No. Yeah, I don't know where he got that other sword, but he had it for a
our
while.
Paths cross once more. We'll fight a duel of words across the courtroom. A day I eagerly await as a lawyer.
I've been waiting to hear you say that. Partner.
They're just friends. No budget. There's lots of Animu. Wait, maybe there weren't anime cutscenes in the second game. I actually wasn't paying attention. The first game had them.
Don't forget me then, Kazuma.
As if I could, Ryunosuke.
And Mr. Sholmes.
Oh, speak.
Thank you so much.
Speak.
I'm very much indebted to you.
Indeed, Mr. Naruhodo. I believe you are.
Not my favorite. I guess I never realized that there wasn't, they didn't have the anime cutscenes.
I'll never forget all you've done for me during my time in London.
Took me the whole game.
Quite. I should like to think you will remember your debt of gratitude.
It's like if you turn down the volume on what I'm doing.
Especially
Rosa,
when I
hello.
visit you in your country. What? The truth is, although many are ignorant of the fact, the world is far smaller than most folk realize.
Well, I'd be delighted if you came to Japan one day.
Oh yes, would welcome you with open arms, Mr. Sholmes. Oh, that sounds wonderful! I can't wait!
Sure.
In that case, let us conclude that this is to be merely a brief parting, my dear fellows.
My dear fellows.
Woo!
And that brings us to the end of my adventures in Great Britain.
Or is it?
A peculiar twist of fate brought me halfway around the world those many months ago. But that was just the start of my journey. Who knows where fate will lead me next? Still, I'm confident this won't be my last meeting with the friends I've made in London. And when we're together again, no doubt the first words I'll hear will be,
Objection.
Come, the game is afoot.
Oh. I was wrong.
The ship, with our friends from
Oh,
the east,
squeaky leaky.
sailed steadily towards the distant horizon. But Sholmes's face was alight with joy. The times may change, but a steadfast friendship will remain true, Wilson. We have but to gently close our eyes, and we are with our companions once more.
So, I do just that.
Iris is competent as a voice actor. I didn't think Rinosuke
When I do, I
or
can
anybody
hear
else
his
was doing a
strong,
good job.
familiar voice ring out.
This is objection.
Objection!
Until we meet again, Bruno.
Yay! Listen, all I'm saying is that ending, like, they could make more of these. There is no reason we couldn't start a new arc with these characters. Woo! Oh, I gotta read again. Okay, hold on. Put the volume back where it's supposed to. Oh, God! But I'm no purveyor of electrical goods, and what did the promise close? Oh, God! Anyway, I've decided an absence from London is in order, a sojourn in distant climes. The Empire of Japan, perhaps? I understand that wardrobe class incurs no charge whatsoever. That's fun. Ah! What a fun. It took me 2 years to beat this game. I got a little to hurry the other day. It just said, thank you for everything, Daddy, but it made Harley cry. And I gave him some lotion I'd invented as well to dye his hair red safely. But he said that might make him cry too, so he'd rather not use it. I'm gonna pull up somebody to raid while this is happening, but we won't kind of go over all of it. Head pats, yay! Yeah, I started this game 2 years ago, stopped, and restarted it a few months back. In those days, when I was known as the Reaper, I felt your presence at my side. Once, unable to bear the burden of the grim pseudonym, I even retired from the courtroom. Despite everything, I still wear your prosecutor's badge with pride. But the darkness that once beset me is no more, as you too are no more. In the words of the young foreign friend of mine, I must stride forward toward a brighter future. Ba, 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 ba. Yay! The
boss left a note for me, you know. And I can read every letter now, A to Z, the whole lot. It's cleared out loads of stuff up. The boss was trying to protect me, see? And that's exactly what me and Chief Inspector Toby are gonna keep doing for Londoners.
Yay, good. Get Gina in the next game, I swear to God.
Only I could said how grateful he was before, you know.
It's Clint's badge. It's so beautiful. Iris invented air dye. They invented holograms! Like, I can't believe it. Like, that's crazy. Jaina, truth is, I'm not the upstanding fella you think I am. You might be a diver at art, but it's a good art. You've reminded me I need to be true to myself. I've got one more job to take care of before it's ta-ta to London town for the foreseeable. And then, I've got to complete your education in the art of detection, a la Gregson, as they say. I just want, yeah, it's like, I don't know, I feel like these games must be selling, the remakes. Look at this cocky boy. Oh my God.
Your Excellency, this man is accused of illegal entry into the office of the Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Oh my God, no, oh, it's her. She was very cute. I want to meet more of her. This is Catfish Council.
Oh really, my friend Sasato-san's in the British courtroom all the time and doing a wonderful job.
We never learned about him! Perhaps I should have engaged the services of a regular legal team. He is the only loose end. I want to know about his whole deal. We never got to learn about... Gossamer, do you have insight on him? You seem to know everything about... That's why they need Ryu back. Like, that's just an open... Oh, look at him.
Mama, is it true about Japanese people? Are they experts at filleting corpses?
Yes, they are. Fish corpses on the whole.
I'd like to hone my own filleting skills. You don't mind, do you, Mama?
Yes, I do. I'm not a corpse yet, am I? Cozy, hello! What is it?
No, and I'm glad.
About Hosanaga's cough. Can I ask you a dumb favor? Yes. Do you need to message it to me or what? Hosanaga's blood mouth never was, like, he just had a bloody cough, and I felt like we were led to believe that was going to be a reveal of some sort, but then we just never got that.
He sent me a very nice letter saying he'd like to show me around now that everything was settled.
But what have I done? I was so excited. I picked a splendid hotel, and now I can't afford the bill. Oh, Barra, come to my rescue again, please. I wish I could just vanish into thin air sometimes.
Go on break. Yeah, well, we're about to end the stream, so we're at the end of the game. So I'll grab it in a sec. But I will do that for you. Yeah, tell me about the cough. Oh, it's her.
When I went to make a waxwork impression of the killer in the cemetery, I realized what had happened. But even in the witness stand of the highest court in the land, I could never speak to her. The Lord Chief Justice and I had struck a bargain, you see.
Oh, you're doing great, Cozy. This will be done in a couple minutes, so I'll just end stream. I love her. There's some people who don't know things like bananas are supposed to be. Bananas? What? Bananas aren't supposed to be spicy. Coming in and out. Oh, yeah, this is the end then. Everyone calls me gossip. I sell Johnny little tidbits that passes by, you know.
Everyone calls me a pepino, and I sell her the spaghetti. It's more redder than in my head.
Hello, everyone. Say call me. This is ridiculous.
Oh, Daly, how charming. You've made lots of new friends here, I see.
Aren't supposed to be spicy? Hosonaga is allergic to soba. Family owns a soba shop? Well, but we never were told that, did we? Spooky package, ooh, baby. Like, I don't remember ever being explained that at all. Do I get to open it? What is it? Oh, is it a Pusheen box? Is it a spooky Pusheen box? However you might have ended, I knew that I wanted you there to see it. If I'd ended up in the dock, there's no one I would have rather had defending me. But now, thanks to you, there's a new path I want to take. I'm sure we'll meet again in the courtroom, my friend. Until then, I leave Karuma out your side. In the artist notes? Okay. I have a I'm not sure. That's just a guess. Because she says I'll be happy, which makes me think I'll see immediately from the box. Yeah, his cough, I was like, I didn't think it was just a joke, but... Tasty. Oh.
I made some tea, Naruhodo-san. It's important that you rest while you can. Once we arrive in Japan, you should be busy establishing your new office. I'm so delighted to be accompanying you. After all, your talents have been recognized by a great detective. Because you really are the greatest of lawyers. A great ace attorney, as some might say.
Some might say that.
Whee!
We didn't leave, game. Yay! Oh, how fun. How cute! Forget about it. And he gets to keep the sword. You know he was like, oh, I gotta give the sword back. He's not dead? Oh, shoot.
Wow!
Hell yeah, babies! Alright, I love you all to pieces. Yeah, let me find somebody to rate. I'm not gonna stick through for, like, all of these credits. Even though it is, I don't know what it is about her in this outfit. I like it quite a bit. It's very cute. Who can we rate? Oh, let's rate Star Heavenly. They seem like a good egg. I don't think I've ever rated them. Let me lower the volume. Here. Look at all these many memos, man. All these characters we've known for so long. Alright, just real quick. So next week, no streams because Cozy and I are going to Disneyland. But after that, we'll probably take a quick, long game break, and I'll play some, like, Halloween stuff. And then I have some longer form stuff I want to hop back into. Yeah, Star Heavenly, that's right. So, we got the card, we got the Discord, I have my YouTube links. I would love it if you would check those out. And then, yeah, we are going to raid Star Heavenly. I love you all to pieces. Keep up with me on my socials, on the card, if you want to stay up to date with Disneyland stuff that I'll certainly be posting. And last but not least, if you are a subscriber, you can copy and paste this boy in there. Custom ears is true. It's so cute. I love you all. Oh, I hit the... Wait. Hold on. What happened? What happened? There we go. Okay, I don't know why it didn't take the first time. Wow, could I copy my... I'm just gonna type it. It won't let me scroll up. I love you all to pieces. Thank you all for joining me in this very fun game. I had a lot of fun. Oh, there he is! That big old lip. And her, I love her too. She was so cute, and we only got to spend a briefest of moments with her. Alright, I love you all. Have a lovely weekend. I will see you all in, like, 2 weeks. And I'll have a lot of stories to tell. I love you. Ow! I love you all. Boo, 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 boo.